All right, everybody. We are live with another episode tonight of Table Talk. Joining me, as always, is my beautiful wife, Lady Divergent. And then joining us as well, this is our special guest for tonight, is a Mr. Zaramux. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Actually, yes. Perfect.
Okay. So, as usual, guys, keep in mind we're doing this because the whole point is to introduce you guys to streamers, content creators that you may not have come across yet. So we want to help get them out there, get some more eyes on them, learn a bit about them, find out how they've done with streaming, making content, and ultimately, even if it just brings a little bit more attention to them, ideally we'd like to bring them follows and viewers and make new friends and connections. So hopefully you guys learn about these people and you learn something about Zara that you like. You drop him a follow, check out his content, all of that good stuff. So with that being said, Zara, let's start with how long have you been in content creation?
Since about 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Like about October 2018, I think was when I started.
Okay. And what got you started on it?
Okay, so this is going to be a heavy story, so I apologize in advance. Um, I don't know. When I started content creation because I was having a lot of anxiety. My grandfather had basically been my dad throughout my life, had passed away kind of unexpectedly. Months following after that, I was having severe anxiety, like to the point where I think I was having heart attacks, dying every day,
Oh,
going to the hospital.
Jesus.
It was real bad. Um,
But around
Hold
October,
on. I hate to do
I
this. We
kind
gotta
of.
got back so it looks like people couldn't hear you. I'm not sure.
Hold on one
Oh,
sec. Yeah, we want to make sure we got you good.
Okay. I fixed it. I
You can
figured out
hear
what.
him. Okay. I guess that
okay.
means do we want to
No,
start again?
yeah, we're gonna start it again because he was explaining that that's the little bit of what he needs to hear.
Can
So
we crop the beginning, like
yeah,
our little
I
section?
know what it
Okay.
was. Is the audio was still picking up, was still looking for my old headset. So
Oh, okay, okay.
all right, guys, can you hear him now?
Testing, testing.
Sorry, are you live too?
No, no, I'm not.
Okay.
Okay. I was just asking. I try to pull everybody up.
Yes, can you, Sarah? You can. Okay. All right, let's try this again. Alrighty, guys,
Sweet.
due to
We're
some
good.
technical difficulties, we are restarting this episode. So, here we are again, live with another episode of Table Talk. Joining me, laughing in my ear because my goofy ass can't seem to figure out my technical shit before we start, is Lady Divergent. And joining me today with her is Mr. Zaramux. Zara, thank you for being patient through my, noobness here when it comes to streaming and doing this. Um, but,
It happens to us all.
yeah. I think that's something that everybody goes through when it comes to content creation or streaming in general.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, Zara, you've been streaming and making content for how long now?
Since about October 2018, I started with content.
Okay. And what got you started?
So, yeah, prior to me starting, my grandfather, who was like a dad to me, he passed away unexpectedly, and I had a lot of anxiety. Um, to the point where I was missing work, missing time with my family, because I thought I was basically dying every day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, I decided to kind of try to push through that, and I decided to make my goal, and this is where I say it's kind of grim. The whole goal of starting my content creation was to leave memories behind for my family. Which is why I started with YouTube, making YouTube videos so that, if something happened and I died unexpectedly, they would have a bunch of content to remember me by.
Okay.
But that kind of changed as time went on. Luckily, I'm kind of past that anxiety. I still like creating the content for them, but it branched out to like streaming and stuff so that I can interact with people and make friends.
And
Okay.
go ahead, Ben.
No, I guess I'm kind of curious. So I know that it's evolved for you, but do you still kind of somewhat have that fear? Like, what if something happens to you tomorrow? Like, they would have at least have that option to have moments and glimpses of you, like, in a happy place, kind of a thing.
Oh, for sure. I
I don't
mean,
know if that makes if I'm even making any sense out of
no,
curiosity.
it does. I would say it's not as prominent as it was back then. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel the absolute need to make content for that purpose like I did when I first started.
Okay.
But it's always in, the background. Like, the more content I can put out, the more memories they have, and then it's also evolved to, well, hey, maybe one day I'll have grandchildren, and maybe this will be a way for my grandchildren to connect with me, um, and stuff like that. So it's always kind of there. It's just not as prominent.
And I think that's really cool, actually. Though, like um, your reasoning, explaining, it's for your family or potentially grandkids at some point. Usually, when I ask somebody, or if lady asks somebody, why are you what's your reason to stream? People are always like, well, I love gaming and I want to share my passion for gaming. You don't usually hear, oh, I want my family to see this. I mean, there are some people that do. I'm not going to take that away from them, but it's not your typical answer, at least in my experience. So I actually really admire that. Where did you start streaming? Did you? Because we've heard different answers now since we've done a few episodes.
So I think my first streams were on YouTube because I did, I started that for the content. And then I think I branched to Twitch for a while, and then I went back to YouTube, and now I'm doing LiveSpace and TikTok.
Okay.
Okay.
So you never did Mixer then?
No, I never did Mixer. I've never done Kick. I've always, when I go somewhere, I tend to stay there for a while.
Okay.
You make it a permanent home.
I try to, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
What made you decide to shift away from YouTube?
So there's a couple things, which is kind of ironic. The reason I decided to move to LiveSpace and stuff was because it was more free, the things I could do. I'm a vapor. I used to smoke heavily, but I've transitioned to vapes. And with YouTube streaming on there, you can't really show anything with vaping. So I either have to hide my camera, which also caused issues because I found the YouTube audience was a lot younger. And so if I hid my camera, they would immediately, like, in chat, your camera's gone, something's wrong.
Wow.
So it made me feel guilty about hiding my camera to be able to do what I wanted to.
So I never knew that you couldn't vape. So you can't vape on YouTube?
That's crazy.
You technically can, but if you do so, they don't distribute you to as many people. Basically, they shadow ban you.
Huh. Well, here I've been vaping every time I turn my stream on because I stream to LiveSpace and YouTube. So
We do. Yeah.
that might
Well,
actually
no,
explain
that's
a lot.
interesting. No,
Okay.
that's interesting to know
I
because I
can't
didn't.
prove it, but that's just the feeling I've gotten because before I started doing live streams and actually vaping on the streams, I was getting hundreds of views on YouTube during the stream.
Okay.
But then after I started vaping and stuff, it went down to like 20s.
Huh.
That's interesting.
Okay.
I also feel like the thing that I think that is important is when we put our streams out there, we do put an age range on our streams. So, like, for me, I am very clear that I am not child friendly. If you are not over the age of 18, please do not come and hang out in my stream because you're gonna hear shit you shouldn't be hearing. I can guarantee it. So for me, I feel like if you have that 18 and up warning label, I don't think that they should be able to like kind of put that precedence on you because you are explaining very clearly from the get-go that you are not meant for children.
That's fair.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
Doesn't mean it happens.
I think it's ideal
I
though.
know.
I
Okay.
think that they like to. I mean, if you have that up, yes, they can't punish you for it, but they don't
Right.
have to show you to as many people either.
That's fair. So what is your content usually? Like, what are you a gamer, just chatter, artist, or crafter?
Definitely gamer. I've branched off a little bit by doing like, family blogs or fishing and stuff like that. But at the heart of it, it's gaming.
Okay, what games are you usually playing?
Variety. So I think on my YouTube, I have videos of over 50 games. Usually, higher end titles, AAA titles,
Okay.
ranging from like World of Warcraft to Fortnite to Harry Potter. I mean,
So you're everywhere. There's really no genre. You're not like a first person shooter.
yeah, no genre at all. I'm everywhere. I even play genres just to show games that I don't even particularly like
Wow.
our sim type games. Like I did a Jurassic World Evolution, which is like a park builder. I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
really
yeah.
enjoy that kind of game,
Okay.
but I still ran through it and showed that. I like to think that when I'm doing quote unquote let's play videos,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm also helping some people out because maybe they're going through something and they don't know how to search it out properly. So I like to have as much of the game content in there as possible so that if somebody gets stuck on something, they can go in there and look at it.
Mm-hmm.
So even though they're just let's plays, I'm hoping they help. So that's why I do a lot of those, even if I don't like the genre.
Okay. So you pretty much just like that's your main I mean, let me that. Outside of what you've already told us, your main focus is it's like a tutorial, like yours is like a walkthrough tutorial type of stream. Like that's the point behind it. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, that's my point. Like I said, a lot of people just see it as let's plays because I don't always get specific to the point. Now, I have made videos that are, you do A, B, and C, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to show overall because, maybe they'll recognize something visually that maybe they're not going to see in A, B, and C because they themselves have got lost.
Okay.
But for me, that's the point. Some people may just enjoy watching them. Some people get help from them. I guess it just depends on the person.
Okay. Is there
I
a
think that's
specific?
actually pretty.
Go ahead, babe.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you. That is pretty cool.
Because you don't, when you think about walking through a game, you think about step by step. I have done that 100 times where I can't figure something out, so I'll go look it up on YouTube to be like, well, what the fuck am I missing?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so to the point where if you've gone, right when you should have gone left, you're not going to have any idea that you needed to go left instead of right because you're already way to the right.
Yeah.
But if you have the whole, like, this is the start and this is the finish of the whole mission, then you can basically go along with it.
That's fair. I can see that. Is there a certain genre? If I told if I was to hand you a contract, right, and I said, okay, you're gonna get paid so much money, but you can only do this one specific genre. What would it be? What's your personal favorite or your go-to? Survival. So I'm gonna assume, based on what I'm seeing here in chat, Ark is gonna be one of those games.
Oh yeah, Ark. I've done Forest, Sons of Forest.
That was a good game.
Power World. few others. I like survival.
Okay. Now, since you brought up Power World, and Lady and I talked about it a little bit, and we were playing for a bit, what is your take on Power World?
Ooh, it needs work.
Needs work.
Now, don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed it,
Mm-hmm.
but my biggest complaint is this: it shouldn't take you 10 hours to grind for 30 minutes of gameplay. And
Okay.
what I mean by that is ammo.
Oh, God.
You know, we ended up
yes.
getting the schematic for the legendary AR, but I ran
Okay.
out of bullets like in 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
horrible.
agree 100%.
So
I think
I
the
think
thing
they
that
need
comes
to fix that.
there's that, but I also agree that like when you're grinding, you end up grinding for forever for stuff to get you to that point. So if you need ore or if you need other things, you spend so much time because there's no way to like automate your ore to be able to have it where if you set up a second base and it's in a prime place where you can have, you know, where that's all you're going to be doing is farming ore, there's no way to like automate it to make it quicker like you have at least like with your stone and your wood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I can see that. Or charcoal, sulfur, all of those. You would definitely need something like that. And you're right, it does. The game feels just way too grindy, and you're talking to someone who's put in 5,000 plus hours into Arc.
Okay.
And I've basically tired myself out in Power World once I got level 50. I can do the grind, but
You want
it
to
just
enjoy
don't,
the grind.
like, exactly. I want it to be worth it. So if I'm gonna grind for this long, let it be worth it. And to me, you know, especially ammo, 30 minutes of, you know, shooting your load compared to 10 hours of, you know, building the ammo, it's not worth it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. So you mentioned that you haven't been on Kick. Is there a particular reason for it, or just didn't try it?
Oh, yes, there is a particular reason. So when Kick first came out, you know, people were talking about it. I saw it on Twitter, whatever. I decided, you know, I was going to go take a look.
Mm-hmm.
And I kid you not, the first stream I saw was a half-naked woman, and it wasn't her top half.
Oh boy.
And mind you, I've mentioned that most of my content, at least originally started out, was for my kids to enjoy. So I did not want to, you know, have any content on a platform that, you know, they would see that.
Yeah.
I do agree.
100%.
So
agree.
yeah, that was it. I was done. I saw that and I was like, nope.
Yeah.
So speaking on that realm of that's what it started out as, when you look at your content now and you look at where you've come, like every platform has some kind of, I don't even, inappropriate or things we don't want our kids to see. So like, I mean, even like Twitch, you've got all these like damn hot tub streamers and, you know, people running around half naked like it's nothing. So when picking your content platform, is that like the majority of why you pick your platform? Like, okay, this looks pretty wholesome, there isn't anything like major. Is that a turn off for you, like on Twitch too, with all of that?
It is, but more so than just the initial, you know, this is what I can see, whatnot. It has to do a lot with how the company handles it.
Okay.
Obviously, you know, Kick has been in the, you know, the Twitterverse a lot for not handling certain things, or, you know, only handling it if there's an outcry.
Mm-hmm.
And Twitch is basically on the same boat. They're not really doing anything against that kind of more risque content.
Okay.
So I think that's a big reason why I don't really stream on Twitch anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be honest, now it's less of a hindrance for me, just because all my kids are, a bit older now.
Okay.
So I guess
Okay.
I don't think about it as much, but it is still kind of there in the background.
Right.
Um,
As a parent, you want to make sure that they're being introduced to that they're seeing stuff that's wholesome, like, and then that could be on TV, movies, their social media, I was, I think I
Hmm.
can speak for a majority of parents. Like, we would like to limit their exposure to that as much as possible for somewhat as long as possible. Just, you want them to have that
for
healthier,
sure.
so I get that 100%. Um,
So, with that being said, with having kids and a family and wanting to do that for your family, is how you started. In your support system at home, do you feel like your family is supportive of what you do? Like, do you find it hard to juggle like family life and streaming life? And how does that work for you with your support system?
So that's a great question. My girlfriend Z's, she really holds it down for me. Um, the kids, they don't quite get it. I mean, they understand I make content. They, are semi supportive, but at this point, they're still kids. They're teenagers who are,
mhm.
more self absorbed at the moment.
hitting,
Um,
hitting
Trust
that
me,
but
we
point.
know that.
I don't get a whole lot from them, but Z's, like I said, she really handles it, making sure that they're quiet for me when I need it. She's always there supporting me. Without her, I probably wouldn't be doing it at this point. I probably wouldn't be able to.
Okay.
I do find that interesting. Do you feel like having your kids in the background in your stream, possibly being part of your stream by being background noise, do you think that that is an issue for people when they come into your stream? Because I'll be honest, we have five, and granted, they're grown and out of the house now, but even when they weren't, like, ours never had an issue to come up and be like, hey, how's it going? And maybe it may only be 5 or 6 minutes where they're part of the stream, but our house was never quiet. So I kind of wonder, like,
Yeah,
do you feel like is that a you thing, or do you feel like that's what your audience expects?
I think it's a my thing based on YouTube.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, when doing tutorial videos and stuff, obviously people want to come in and get to the point, and hearing all that stuff in the background is kind of off-putting for them. When it comes to my streams, I don't really mind as much,
Hmm.
but a lot of times, they're talking about personal information, and I definitely don't want the viewers hearing about my child's school or stuff like that. I guess to me it's a protective thing.
Right.
No, I get it. Ours are just so, I guess ours are just, we never really, they were so bold.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
wanted to know.
but he brings up a good point though. I mean, if you think about the content that he's doing, let's just look at it from
Right.
just the content perspective. It's not like he's playing, say, Fortnite, and but if it's the point is to show a game relatively from start to finish, um, you kind of want the focus to be on that. So I get it from that point. Also, I mean, we live in an age where you got to be careful with your kids more than ever. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
seems like it gets
Oh
worse
gosh,
and
yeah.
worse. Shit, especially with, since we mentioned it, content on Kick, some of the shit that you've seen on Kick. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I 100% get it, and that makes total sense to me. Um, so with your kind of content, do you ever get Z's on there with you? Do you guys like ever do it together, or is it really more like you're doing it yourself?
I don't know. C's has been a part of my content for quite a while.
Okay.
The big hurdle we had though was the microphones because our computers were right next to each other.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
so if I had her in Discord to record her voice, some of her voice would come through my microphone as well. It'd sound really echoey, you know.
Yep.
People would say, "Hey, she's really echoey." Like, yeah, I get it.
Lee and I used to get
Um,
that a lot when we shared the same office.
yeah, yeah. So I just recently ended up moving my office, so now she's a part of it quite a bit more.
Hmm.
Um, but she's always kind of been there. She's even I've done like one-on-one videos of me and her playing Mortal Kombat or stuff like that. And I've also done that with my kids. Different games. I'll have them come in and make a video with me.
Okay.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
So you really put a lot of yourself into your content, whether it's you, your family, just like there's really a lot more to what you do than just your content. You know,
Oh
you
yeah,
like
for
you.
sure. I mean,
Go ahead.
so like the fact is, I work 40 hours a week,
Hmm.
and my hours are really weird. I'm basically working the entire time they're home during the week. And so I don't get a lot of time with them during the week. But I also know that I need to make this content. And I hate to sound cliche, and I'm sorry to do this, but part of it for me, especially on YouTube, is to help support my family. Um,
That's nothing wrong with
you
that.
Okay.
know, it's a second form of income for me,
Okay.
especially since Z's is disabled and she can't work. It's me taking care of 5 people basically. Um, with that being said, I have to do my videos on the weekend. And so I don't get a whole lot of time with them then either.
Hmm.
Every Sunday or so we'll watch a movie and stuff, but it's not as much as I wish it could be. It's really not.
Okay.
But I have to put, being able to provide for them ahead of, being able to be there for them 24/7. So
Oh.
it sucks. It's hard. So with that, you know, any chance I get that they're interested in a game, because mind you, I've said they're in their own little worlds right now, so they don't really care much about my content creation. But
Right.
anytime I get a game that they might be interested in,
Right.
I try to pull them in, make a video about it, have some fun with them. Um, and that way it's twofold. I get to spend time with them, but then they have actual memories of them doing something with me that they can look at later.
Okay.
I do love that though.
Yeah. No, I
That is
love.
such a very personal aspect of what you're putting into your creation and your content.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you don't usually hear that as a motivation. It's not people's
Mm-mm.
first response. Let me put it that way. I mean, people might have that as a motivation, but it's not always. It's very rare that you hear that be somebody's first response. Um, so, trying to figure out how to phrase this because I don't want to offend Chad. I'm. You seem to have a great community behind you. Would that be a fair statement?
Definitely at this point, it's kind of newer to me, so it's overwhelming at times, like not in a bad way,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, you know, it's different for me. I'm not used to having that. My support system prior was basically just Z's.
Okay.
And I picked up a few friends along the way on YouTube. I have a really good friend, Dead Wolf, and a really good friend, King. But it's not like the community that I have now on Live Space. It's just so it's inspiring and awesome. I mean,
So did you not really have
I,
much
I
like? Is it just now that you're able to grow the community since you're coming to live space? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, yeah. With YouTube, you know, yes, there's a lot of comments and stuff, but it doesn't really feel like a community. You have
Mhm.
people that'll come watch your videos. You have people that come to your streams every once in a while. But most of the time, streaming on YouTube, you get, like I said, a much younger audience
Yeah.
who cares only about one thing,
Right.
and that's typically the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm obviously, you know, variety. I have to have variety. And so that doesn't stick well there. But coming to live space, I pretty much started over. I think I have about 5 people that have made live space accounts to watch me, but other than that, the community has just grown since I've been on live space.
Okay. And when did you start on LiveSpace?
I think it was September
September.
of
Okay.
last year.
So you've been here for a minute then. That's what, September, October, November, December. We're what, 6 months? That'll be 6 months in now.
Yeah, about that. I'm pretty low key though.
Okay. I mean, for being low key, I mean, we had people, we got a few DMs from people saying, hey, you should reach out to Zara and do it. And, as soon as we posted it on Twitter, I mean, like with everybody has their own people that comment and everything, but it was like almost instantaneous. Like, it felt like that as soon as we said, hey, we're doing a podcast with Zara, like all of a sudden, oh, Zara's awesome. Zara's great. Like, so you really seem to have made a great impact with people. Um,
Oh man, that's like I said, this is new to me, and that makes me feel that makes me feel away. Wow,
I think
just
you don't
hearing that's
realize,
awesome.
I don't think any of us realize how important we are to our communities
oh, absolutely.
until, say, somebody puts out something like that. And then you find out how many people really are excitedly and who are excited about you, your content, and who care about you. And I think that that's the point that we miss sometimes as creators. We just think that people oversee us at times, and it's maybe not us that they come around for all the time, but it's the content. So, and I think that is true, is that over on YouTube, you're only used to seeing a handful of people, and those people are not always regulars. And if they are on the younger spectrum, you don't want to always be trying to cater to that. You want to be able to get people who you can have, I hate to say it, adult conversations with, and you can have fun and laugh and joke. And it sounds like you've built a really good community here without even realizing you've done it.
Mhm.
For sure. And I would say with the kids, it's not even. I mean, yeah, somewhat the adult conversation, but it's those relationships, right? As an adult, I think most adults would agree that having a relationship like that, friendly relationship with a kid, is just kind of taboo.
Yeah.
Very
Um,
much so.
especially if you're a guy.
Yep.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel. But on LiveSpace, I can make those connections, like Lucha and Joker and the rest of the FK fam. Like
hmm
they're awesome. I talk to them every single day, multiple times a day. Um, it's really great to get those connections, and that's what I was kind of looking for when I started streaming, but I never really found it until I got to LiveSpace.
Okay. I mean,
That's awesome.
yeah. So, I wanted to, I'm going to kind of recircle around because somebody made a comment that I wanted to kind of touch back on. You said you had one of the reasons why it may not be your primary reason but it's up there, is you want to be able to provide financially. You have a job, but you also want to try to bring in some extra money. Are you monetized on YouTube?
Yeah, I've been monetized for a couple years now.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm almost at 10K followers,
Okay.
I think, but it's still. I mean, I just want people to know that even at that number, at 10K, it's not really anything you can quit your day job for.
Fair enough. Yeah, because you got to get. Because I'm assuming those 10K subscribers, they're not actually like subbing, like money subbing to you then at that point.
Oh yeah, no. Most of those subscribers do not sub to you. It's just a simple follow. but I would say most of the money that I get through YouTube is actually ads and not subscriptions.
Right.
Um, which of course requires every video being very good and
It's got to fall in. Doesn't it? It's
to-
got to fall under a specific scrutiny though, right? Because like if the wrong kind, like, isn't it where like if the wrong kind of content is there, like maybe somebody says say the F word, for example, something that is very a big no-no, and maybe not a politically correct term. We'll go with that. Can't that like demonetize the video?
it can cursing not so much as long as it's not within the first like 15 seconds of the video.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I don't know why YouTube they really stress upon the first 15 seconds. I guess maybe that's what they expect their advertisers to watch. But if you look at their guidelines, because when you create videos now, you have to rate them yourself, basically. But if you look at their guidelines, they're like, if it's in the title or in the first 15 seconds of the video, it has the F bomb or the S word, then it's not really eligible for ads. But if you have it later on, it doesn't really matter as much.
Okay. Um, what is
I mean,
that?
they'd have to ban Tip. They'd have to ban Tim if they were gonna take out the F word, because
Well, yeah, no, I know that you can swear on it, right?
I just know that. Yeah.
it's swearing within reason because we're all adults and you're not going to say. I'm not even going to pretend that majority of
Right.
us don't sit there and say, f this and f that. I'm more talking about when I say the f word. I'm talking about, try not to say it here. A bundle of sticks, or with that, no homosexual comments, no stereotyping in a derogatory
Yes.
way. You know what I mean?
Sure, and I think that is very true. Depending on who you ask, YouTube may or may not have an agenda, and what they feel is proper and not proper, and they may, just like Twitch has been scrutinized for, banning people for something that they may not have banned other people for. I think it's the fact that they can keep their guidelines very generalized and vague.
Mm-hmm.
It helps them in that situation, but I really haven't run into too much of that, just because, and I'll be honest, my YouTube persona, while it's definitely me, it's me without opinions.
Fair enough.
You keep it very much. Here's the game, very straightforward. Nothing more, nothing less.
Exactly.
Okay.
Allowing people to not actually get to see you at your finest, just what you want that. So like when you're on YouTube, you're kind of playing the part.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I hate to say it like that. I try to keep it as real as possible,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, I don't really go into topics that may be, sensitive for some people.
Okay.
But then again, a lot of times I don't have to in those kind of videos
Okay.
because I don't have a direct community asking me about certain things that they may be concerned about. But you're right; it's not the full picture. If you want the full picture, you got to watch me on LiveSpace.
Right. So,
Okay. Okay.
so when you go live on LiveSpace, are there streams where you're not on YouTube, or are you always live on both?
No, I do not live on YouTube anymore, just because I don't want to deal with the younger audience.
Okay.
But I do go live on TikTok, just
Mhm.
because right now I'm trying to, I got a stream key from them, so I'm trying to test that out, just see how it works. But it does limit me as well. I can't vape on TikTok.
TikTok is very picky.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Their
But
content, like rules, I think are probably the strictest out of all of them out there right now.
Yeah, especially for live. Not so much for, regular videos, but for live, it's super. And they even
Yeah.
send you like an email when you get access to live, reminding you that streaming on their platform is not a standard feature, it's a privilege. So, screw it up and you're out.
Okay. Now, so we do have a question in chat. Um, how were you able to successfully build up your subscriber base on YouTube?
So, a lot of those were eh, straight to the point. This is how you do things videos. Um, I
More
started out.
tutorials.
Yeah, more
Okay.
tutorials. Started out doing like weekly mission tutorials for Fortnite. Back before they told you where everything was and you had to kind of figure it out. And then it really hit when I did World of Warcraft. They had these um, allied races where you could do a quest line and unlock new races to play as. And even though there were already videos out there, I decided, you know what? Hey, I'm going to try it. If anything, it's practice. Well, it ended up getting really big to the point where some of those videos ended up in the 200,000 views. If you search my name with WoW, it comes up in the WoW forums,
Oh wow, that's
the
pretty cool.
WoW
That's awesome.
what is it, Wowhead news site. My name pops up there from them. So those really hit off. And that's a lot of where my subscribers came from early. And now I think a lot of them come from just, putting out shorts. Shorts has really kind of helped. And then doing, just consistently uploading. I've uploaded over 3,000 videos on YouTube at this point.
Wow, that's
Oh
impressive.
wow.
Okay. Now redirecting to TikTok. How long ago did you get your TikTok key?
Probably about 2 months ago, maybe,
2 months ago.
if
Okay.
that.
So it's a relatively. So are you on there on a regular basis now, or is it just kind of like still testing the waters?
I have been going off in a regular basis during the weeks. So
Okay.
any stream that I've been doing during the week, I've been multi-streaming to TikTok. But during the weekends, when I do pop-up streams, I do not do TikTok because I just want to, relax on the weekend.
Gotcha. We got somebody in chat who wants to know how you were able to get. What would you attribute your success to getting your follower count to a point where you got your ability to go live on TikTok?
Yeah. So I honestly trigger that to luck.
Just luck.
Um,
Okay.
I had one video that I did, and it's a stupid video. I mean, it's me and Z's playing a custom like football thing that they had in Fortnite, and I just made a comment about how she was cheating and she was playing like the Patriots, and that video on TikTok ended up getting 1.4 million views.
Holy
Wow.
smokes.
Yeah, it went really viral on there. But since then, all my views have been like 300. But that one particular video, I just got lucky in it. It hit hard.
Hmm. That's. I'm processing the million views. Like I don't. I think I
You
shit
can
myself.
see it. No, think about it. You can see it because you made a comment about a very socially loved and hated sports team in a game. Like I can see it where everybody who hates the Patriots and everybody who loves the Patriots is all gonna have
So
their
you're saying
take on it.
so you're saying it's because of the triggers. We said Patriots. It was football.
Yeah. Yep.
People. And I don't know about everybody else, but I do enjoy the banter between couples. That to me is usually what I end up watching when I'm on TikTok. It's where I get
It is.
That's where I get half the ideas to give ladies shit half the time because I pick on her quite regularly. So, um,
You ever call me that again, I'll kill you.
what?
We're not. I'm not. Nope.
Oh, you mean
Just
when I
know
refer
that
to you when I refer to you as my side piece?
that one. I mean, I'll be your side piece, whatever you need me to be, as long as the ring stays on and there ain't nobody else. Where I'll be anything. But no, that wasn't the one I was talking about. I was talking about the one where that poor guy harasses his wife every month when she's on her period.
Oh. So I gotta ask. So since we're on that, do you ever do anything like that with Z's? Or like, what's your guys' like on camera? Is it the same on camera as it is off camera, or do you guys tend to banter a bit more when you're on camera?
I mean, no, it's pretty much the same. The only difference, obviously, is the physical things that you can't do on stream.
Right.
At least unless you're on OnlyFans.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But as far as that, I mean, the lady would probably be disappointed to hear that I throw chocolate at Z's and tell her I'm feeding the blood troll.
He referred to me as his little ketchup packet. I could have killed him. I did look at him the other day, though, and I did tell him, I said, if I ever ask you to go out and get me pads with wings, that does not bring me back Wingstop and pads without wings, because I'll fucking kill you. Because
See, that sounds like something I would do.
Every fucking husband whose wife asks them for that is what they get. They get wings and pads. Like, do you not know that there's the concept of both, and they go together?
You do realize that's the whole point of the joke, though, right?
I know, but I would absolutely kill you.
My luck, that would be the one time that you ask for wings and pads completely separate, and I wouldn't.
And you'd bring me just the pads with the wings.
Yeah.
I know. You're right.
So we do have a question for you,
What
Zara.
the fuck is pads?
We do have somebody who has a question for you, Zara. Who would you let's go with the top 5. If you had to make a list of your top 5 streamers, like if you're only allowed to watch these people, right? Who are you gonna put up on that list?
Oh, that's an interesting one because I'm weird. I don't watch big streamers.
I think that's a lot of us, though.
At all.
I watch very few of them unless I gotta be really bored for it.
Exactly. Like, I don't. So this is gonna be, let's see, in no particular order. Deadwolf, Lucha, Sausage, Joker, Jaco, and probably Devi.
I do find that very interesting that we tend to not watch large streamers or big name streamers. But to me, the names you listed off, to me, are big time streamers. Because they are streamers who have amazing content, they have larger communities. Like, to me, they are who I think of as big time streamers.
Well, I gotta put you into some hot water for a minute, Zara, because you left one name off the list that I would have thought just because we're live and I figured to cover your ass. There's one name I would have expected on there that you didn't put in there.
Well, you see, I get to watch her all the time,
Okay.
so I don't have to reserve it for streams.
That fair point.
Okay, but if you were here's the question. If you were asked that question, would you have included me in that list?
No, I would have said the same thing as him, so.
Oh, fuck me. 8 ways sideways to Sunday.
I mean, I work from home. She sees me 24/7. I see her 24/7. I mean, now if we're talking about I wasn't at home, you put me on like some remote friggin' island and I had to choose 5 people, then yeah, she'd be one of them.
Okay.
Interesting.
No, honestly though, like, all joking aside, I would have done it the same. Like, maybe not the same people per se, but I honestly, babe, I wouldn't have put you on my list either though, because I mean, I get to game with you, I get to hang out with you. Like, honestly,
Okay, that's fair enough. I get it. I'm not big enough for you. That's fine.
I walked into that one. Fuck me.
The door slams you in the face and says, "Wake up, lead."
Yeah, now that I'm trying to figure out how to dig myself out of this hole, so.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm just teasing you.
No, so how are you feeling like with the direction that Live Space is going? This isn't one that I've asked people so far, so I'm bringing in a new question. There's all these improvements, in my opinion. Okay, I'm going to call it this. there's all these improvements coming out to live space. There's changes to it constantly, updates to it constantly, and I personally am impressed with the way that they're doing it and how they've been doing it. How are you feeling about the roadmap that live space has put out, and how well they've, or would you say they've done a good enough job of sticking to that roadmap so far?
So, okay. I do like the majority of what they're doing. They are constantly bringing updates. They're doing them quickly, but I still have an asterisk. I still have a concern, and that is when they decided to put thumbnails behind a paywall,
Hmm.
um, and also stream VODs behind a paywall. And the reason that that's such an issue for me is obviously I've stated that a lot of my stuff is meant for future consumption by my kids, grandkids, etc. They're also talking about bringing in the video uploads, which I'm concerned is also going to be behind a paywall.
Right.
Um, Obviously, I've tried asking Todd about that in his streams.
Yeah, I
And,
saw that because I
you know,
think his last one just on Thursday. You were asking about that, right? Was it you?
yeah, it might have been, or it might have been before that. I'm not sure exactly when I did. But I know I did ask him, and I couldn't get a straight answer. Um, and so I'm kind of concerned about the paywall thing. I understand though that it's a new service. It's getting traction. They need servers. They need money.
Mm-hmm.
But there's got to be other ways. I You can't call it a platform for creators when you limit their ability to create.
That's fair. Um,
So I'm I mean, it's my home, my community. I love it here.
oh yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong. I do think they're doing some good updates, but I still have that one nagging concern that's kind of making me like,
Do you feel it's like
did I really make the right choice?
so? Are you worried that it's going to become a pay to win kind of deal, or is it just little things that you're just not thrilled about?
I don't necessarily know that it'll be pay to win. The fact is that people, I don't think a lot of people are going to pay to have to watch VODs and stuff like that when they can do it on YouTube for free.
Right.
Um, so I don't think it's gonna give any advantage if you pay for it. But it just kind of, I don't know. I guess it just kind of irks me in the fact that before they were touting it as a feature for people to come join, and I'm talking about the VODs being saved. And then later they change it to, well, yeah, it was a feature, but now you have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm. No, and I get your point because if I remember, there wasn't like any real major announcement to it, was there?
Not really.
Think
I think
so.
it just kind of came out when they decided to add it to the program. I mean, I think they just put it on, their live space page and put it on Twitter, which granted is how they do most of their announcements, but it was also said on their Twitter page before, hey, we have this feature. It's a feature that we have. You should come stream with us. Um, and that's why it just kind of bothers me. I guess I'm not one who likes change a lot,
Mm-hmm.
especially change against something that I like. And so it just kind of threw me off. I'm hoping that that's not the route they're going to take in the future,
Mm-hmm.
where they get you used to these kind of features and then they're like, oh, now you got to pay for it. Because I think that would disappoint and disrupt a lot of people on live
Mhm.
space.
Yeah, and it does
I
kind
can
of
see
feel.
that.
And listening to your point, I can kind of get it because it feels like it was like a teaser feature. Like, oh, let me tease you that we have this, and then they took it away
We rip it
basically
away.
because like
Right. And
Lady and I, we we're living paycheck to paycheck. You know, we have a few basic subscriptions for like TV and stuff, but after that, I mean, our checks are pretty much gone.
Hmm.
Um, you know, pretty quick. So like anything extra, like I would love to be able to do like the lives, the go ad free. You know, like as you know, and subscribe to live space because I do actually believe in it. I like the direction that it's going overall. I just can't afford it. So I get your point completely there. That it would be somewhat disruptive. Um, I do know they said they were going to look into it and possibly look at getting that switched around. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see if they really do.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they do. I hope it works out. They promise a lot, and they do deliver a lot. I will give them that.
Mm-hmm.
I just,
You have your
Wonder
I guess
if
the
I wonder if they
sorry.
were to offer like an option of like a tier range, like where you could have so many that were there for free and you could like pick or choose, you know, which ones you want there. And then once you hit that tier is up, then you could go to where you have to pay for so many, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't mind that so much because then you could pick your best VODs that you really want people to see to showcase your content so that way you get like a good experience of what you're about, so when people come to watch it they're seeing the best of you, and then you can decide from there whether you want every VOD up there or not. Because if you really want to be honest, do you really want every VOD up there if you're gonna have, if you know, say you have an off day, or say the games just were rough and you know, like I don't know that I want 7 years of VODs up there. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get that, but I come from the opposite end of that,
Hmm.
where I basically do want all of my content saved.
yeah.
See, I figure
Um,
that's what YouTube's for for me. They all just kind of sit there.
so yeah, I mean, that is a big part of my concern is, they're wanting to add this stuff in to kind of compete with YouTube, but my concern is if they're going to make you pay for it, they're not going to compete with YouTube. And I
Yeah.
want them to succeed.
No, I agree, and it would be awesome to see in community. I think we're a long way off from that being a thing. Um, it it's hard because like I get it from a business perspective. You know, I can understand they want to make money, so they got to figure that out as well. Especially with if the
Hmm.
revenue split is what it is here.
Hmm.
You know, they're boosting a lot of people for a year, so you know, giving them 100% revenue split, you know, they're going to lose money there. So it has to balance itself out in some way. But I get your point at the same time. So I'm probably the last person that would have an opinion one way or the other because I can play devil's advocate to both sides of it. You know, it's
We don't play the devil's advocate to everything.
yeah. Um,
He will, literally.
so I was going through your Twitter, and I noticed that you know you promote your content, but for a lot of you really don't seem to share anything really outside of whether it's promoting your content or tagging somebody and saying, "Hey, this person's live," or showing support to somebody else in a sense where like you're retweeting um, somebody else. Do you not use Twitter a whole lot? Am I just
I'm
missing it,
very
or
bad about it.
okay?
Um, I rarely self promote. I used to try, but I rarely do. I would say for the most part, Twitter for me right now is just trying to support others. Uh, trying to get them out there. I don't have a big following on it. I'm old. Um, you know, MySpace and Facebook were what I got used to.
What do you
Uh,
consider to be old?
uh,
I mean, you don't have to
I don't
answer
want
that
to
if you don't
offend
want to.
anybody. I
I'm just
mean,
curious because I mean, I always think of myself as being like old.
well, I'm pretty near the dreaded 40 that everybody speaks of. See, I knew I was going to get that kind of reaction. I feel old. How's that?
That's
Okay,
a fair statement.
that's a better statement because dude, the
I
dreaded 40. Wow.
yeah, lady's pretty much over the hill and getting the shovel out to bury herself in it. So,
Fuck you! I am halfway to. I am almost. I'm like 5 years away from 50.
I seriously thought you were about to say 5 years away from retirement. I'm like, damn, you're not that old, but you're close. So.
Fuck me. I'm only 45, 46.
See, you don't even know.
Jesus Christ, I don't even know. Holy fuck of me.
You're 45.
that's
You're
part
going to
of
be
getting old.
46 this year.
Yeah, I'll be 46 this year. He's right. I had to really think about it.
She's for about a month, or not even a month, for about a week. I'm sorry. She's about 12. She's 12 years older than me for all of a week, and then she goes back to 11. You know, and then you got guys like Lucha. You know, they're, you know, crustier than fossils. So you know, I mean, you're not.
Oh my God, Lucha's so old. I know.
Lucha's so old, his balls drag on the ground as he walks because
Oh,
you know gravity has drastically taken over.
I mean, they would, but you know he has a lucha mask down there too, right? So that they don't do that.
And the fact that you know that, dude.
Hey, you know what? One thing I've noticed about the FK community, they all seem to have like very personal inside knowledge of each other's like more private bits, you know. So what they do in that community, you know, I love the fact that you guys are all that close to, you know, and respect it 100%, you know. But
I don't know that I want to be that close with Lucha. I don't want to know about his bits.
So you don't use getting back to getting off of Lucha's balls. All right. As excited as Lady is right now.
Oh my God.
Going back to Twitter for a second. So you don't use it a whole lot to like promote your content. You are there to support people. What is your take on Twitter when it comes to like streamer Twitter? And I'm going to say streamer Twitter because I've come across plenty of great topics where there's healthy discussion. You know, people share their personal stuff, and there's plenty of good support towards all that stuff. Streamer Twitter, though, like if you want to put that bit there, and I'm watching chat as it's coming across my screen. You know, somebody summed it up really well. Streamer Twitter is just a freaking bloodbath. I mean, is that a fair statement in your opinion?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. There is a lot of. This is going to make me sound bad, but this is kind of why I am a lot antisocial. Mm-hmm. You know, we talked about it a little bit, but I really had a hard upbringing. So it's hard for me to trust people. It's hard for me to, you know, especially people I don't know. Uh-huh. So reading on Twitter, you see a lot of back and forth. So this person did that person did that, this person's doing this. I really try to just stay the hell out of all that crap. Which is probably why I don't use Twitter a whole lot, because sure, I have an opinion, but I don't feel like wasting my energy sharing it about, you know, stuff like that when I know people are going to come back at me with their opinions and, you know, try to argue. I don't have the energy for all that. I feel like a lot of people are very toxic on there. Mm-hmm. And I'm lucky to have the, you know, community that I have and the small following I have, because, you know, a lot of times I can avoid that by not looking at bigger streamers, or, you know, not even necessarily bigger streamers, but bigger egoed streamers.
Yeah.
I think the thing you see on Twitter a lot is the he said, she said game. And then everybody else, everybody has an opinion on what he said or she said. And I tell Lee this all the time: opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, but you don't need to share it.
Well, see, I agree with that statement. Opinions are like assholes, but people go on Twitter specifically to be assholes.
Exactly.
And it's not like, you know, you're face to face and you're sharing your opinion. No, people are so much worse because they feel untouchable.
We talk about people being keyboard warriors. Like, it is so easy to sit behind your computer screen and to torture and to torment and to harass people that way. and think that it's okay to behave that way because you're sitting behind your keyboard and you don't have to face them face to face. And it's okay to say whatever you need to say and be whoever you feel you need to be. But that's not the way it should be. Like, if you are so intent with tearing somebody down and destroying somebody because it makes you feel good, we really need to seriously have a therapy session and talk about what is your issue here. Because unfortunately, the reality is that's what we deal with on a daily. That's what Twitter is
Right.
how can I tear you apart and publicly humiliate you, demean you, and then destroy what little bit of pleasure and joy you get out of creating your content.
Jesus. Tell us how you
It
really
really
feel.
is. And
I gotta
I hate.
I mean, for crying out loud, like I am the other side of that coin.
I was just saying, like, damn, you came up very, like,
I wasn't trying to be aggressive, and if I was, I apologize.
no, this is why we do this. You know, we're here to share our opinions and our thoughts on this stuff. So, if you see somebody involved in the Twitter BS, right? We'll call it Twitter BS, right? For that fact, do you watch their streams, or is that like a turn off to even like support, like to go in there and be a viewer for them?
Oh, it's definitely a turnoff. If you're willing to get into that kind of BS, it's for one of a few reasons, and none of those reasons are good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get involved in that kind of stuff at all, and I don't want to be a part of that crap. I don't have to put anyone down to make myself feel better, and I don't feel like anybody else should put other people down to get up. It's not a freaking pyramid you're climbing. It's life. I mean, yeah, some people think of it as just a game, they're going through, they're doing what they need to, they're working the system. But for me, it's just life. I'm just sharing my life. So why bother getting into all that crap when I wouldn't get into that in real life? I'm not going to go on there and be a freaking keyboard warrior. I mean, I grew up in the hood. I know what it means when you talk crap. And so I don't do that.
Yeah. So my reason for asking, so we talked about this with Joker. He touched on this, and it was basically like I gotta step on you, and I love wrestling, so like listening to, I'll phrase it in a way that I heard, I'm gonna step on you, step over you, or go through you, basically, and that's what it feels like Twitter is for a lot of people. Is they got to figure out how to do that. It's like less and less you see people, and this is why I brought up going through yours, is because I see just mostly like there was the occasional, you're promoting your content, but more so you're supporting other people. Like you're not stepping on anybody. You're trying to help build everybody up. Mm-hmm. So I wish there was more people. That's why I'm asking this question. We talked about this we basically talked about this with everybody that comes in. But Joker talked about this quite a bit. Is instead of making it a competition, to where you have to destroy somebody to get ahead, why not build everybody up and solidify that network to where you guys want to boost each other up, and it helps boost each other up. So that's why I wanted to ask, is because we talked about it, and Joker really, we really went into a little bit more detail, I feel like, when we talked with him, so I was curious to get your take on it.
Yeah, for sure. I think the reason that Lucha and Joker and I have all, gotten so close in a short period of time in this community is because we're fairly like-minded on a lot of stuff. I agree. I don't like stepping on people. I think it's mean, dumb, whatever. It's just, I'm not with it. And I never have been. I never will be. Now, I would say, though, that with Twitter and stuff, even streaming and stuff, I've not really personally experienced a lot of that. I know some people have, and maybe that might change their perspective a bit, but I'm just a small guy in a small pond where the fish kind of just play together, I guess.
Okay.
I've
No, and
It's
that's
a
really
great
cool.
analogy.
Well, no, and that's great to hear because I think it's like you said, a lot of other people have, and so far, we talked with System, Ramrod, talked with Dana and Joker, and they've all alluded to the fact that they've all had to deal with that in some way, shape, or form. And you're saying that you
Hmm.
haven't really had to, so that actually is great to hear. It doesn't. It's not as depressing when you're starting to think when you're. I was prepared for you to give us a story about how you dealt with it, so that actually doesn't bring me down so much. That
Exactly.
actually builds me up a little bit to say, hey, there's hope for the world yet. Um,
I think the hard part is nobody wants to admit it, is when you're seeing people in streaming, and I don't think it's a horrible thing to say, but like you'll see people who start to succeed and they may start out being your friends and people you care about and this, that, or the other, but all of a sudden when they start to succeed and you're not, you get very jealous. And when you get jealous and that green eyed monster comes out, it's so simple to say, okay, how do I, as Lead put it, go through them to get to where they are?
mhm.
And that is the worst part, is we are in the streaming community, and I'm not saying like myself personally, but people are not happy for other people's successes anymore. We find them getting successful and then it's, well, shit, they're doing something that I'm doing and it's not working for me, so I'm going to step on them, make it look bad, and then keep on going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that. And listen, I'm human. I have moments of, shit, they're really doing well and I'm not. I understand that. But my mindset's a little different. Uh, I don't I don't look at it and then try to break down the things they do.
Mhm.
I look at it and try to break down the things I do and see what maybe I can improve.
Okay.
Um, because again, it doesn't help anybody to, tear apart somebody else. What good is that going to do me? Just because, okay, say for an example, I have somebody who's got the same amount of viewers as me every time, and then suddenly, they hit off. They're getting double the viewers.
Mhm.
Just because I could get rid of them doesn't mean their viewers are going to come to me.
That's fair.
It's not that kind of direct competition.
No, I get it.
So I need to work on myself. I need to figure
Mhm.
out what brings those viewers in for me. And I may not be able to do the same thing other people do. Like
Mhm.
Joker, he is fantastic at sitting there and just shooting the shit with people. He is really good at that. He's good at constantly talking on his streams.
Mhm.
I'm bad
Mhm.
about that because I have a lot of anxiety. Um, I've always been the quiet observer, so I have to really push myself to work on those streams, and I still, after all these years, can't do it to the level that Joker just naturally does it. I can't.
Do you find that Z pushes you at times though to be able to do that?
No, she's much like me. She's
Quiet.
pretty quiet.
Okay.
You know, we have a lot of that, but I think it just it's looking at other people and seeing how they do it. And that is a known it's definitely a known thing within the industry that you need to talk on your streams. You need to constantly be engaging. Silence is deadly. Um, and I get that. I'm still working on it
Mhm.
because it's definitely hard for me. Um, but you know, it helps when you have more viewers, more people coming in and talking. Um, I can do that part fine. It's just when the viewers are silent, they might be lurking, etc. I'm sitting there playing a game, and I find myself having these dim spots. But my point in all of that is, if I were to be like everybody else and look at Joker and say, hey, he's doing these things and I'm not, let me find a way to discredit him and his viewers will come to me. No, that's not going to happen because I don't engage like he does.
Right. I get what you're
So
saying.
I need to work on me.
No, and that's
I
fair.
And
And
that's my
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
sorry.
I keep cutting you off. Terrible today.
No, it's so good. I was just saying, and that's why I don't see the need to, tear people down. It's not worth it. It's, if you get some kind of sick, sadistic, I feel better about myself for it, then maybe you should check on that. But it's not necessary, and it's not going to help you.
Yeah, no, I 100%
Um,
agree. And to expand on that, it's not even so much a mentality of if I discredit them or destroy them, they're going to come to me. A lot. It seems like a lot of people, just based on comments that I've seen just on Twitter, or just listening to certain people in streams, um, they don't even think that they don't even 100% believe that the viewers are going to come to them. They just feel that they have a better shot of getting viewers. Like, that's how desperate they're getting. They're willing to do that at a shot of getting those viewers. They don't even feel like it's
Well-
a guarantee to get those viewers.
think about it this way. If you have 10 million streamers or content creators in the world, the more you can discredit to where you have less people watching them, the higher your chances of being able to be noticed. And I don't think that that's a valid statement, because for every content creator that walks away, there's 5 new ones that join the game.
Nope.
And I think that that's what people forget, is it's like, well, okay, I discredited 1. Did you think about the new 5 that are coming in right behind them, that are going to be younger, better, and willing to put themselves out there 10 times harder than you are now, because you're feeling defeated and because you've been in the game for so long? I think that's the thing that you forget, is when you first come into content creation, you are so hyped about being in it and being ready to go that the energy is amazing. And I think when you're 5, 6 years in, it's not that it's not amazing anymore. It's just, it's a different type of amazing, because you've had all these experiences to learn from.
That's fair.
Yeah, I can see that, but also I don't think that they're taking into account that, they might get more viewers if they discredit somebody, but they absolutely will be hated by a community for it.
We got somebody here in chat who made a good comment. I'm watching this come across. The time it would take to turn one viewer off to someone else's stream could gain you multiple viewers. I mean, and it's like you're saying, put that energy into something positive. Like if we're gonna basically summarize what you're doing, and when I say positive, like positive criticism or constructive criticism, you look at yourself, and you say you look at yourself versus the other people, and be like, okay, this person at this point we were neck and neck. Now they're skyrocketing. They're taking off. They're off to they're off to the races. Why am I still on the starting point, or why am I just getting off the block? That could, putting that effort into that makes you better. In theory, hopefully. Whereas if I just look at it as and say, well, I'm still here. This person's here. Let me see how I can break them, and then you're going to get pissed because you don't have those views still, because you're not improving yourself. So I think you've made some excellent points, and I like what I hear, because and it's nice to hear it from everybody, and I'm glad you said it, because it's to hammer that point home. Stop wasting your time trying to destroy people or discredit them for clout, or another thing that you see is people, pardon my language, but dick riding bigger streamers trying to get that sub money. They think they're going to get the subs or the views that way. Everybody so far, and Zara, you've touched on it so many different ways. Work on improving your content. Put the effort into what can you do to make yourself better and to continue to grow your content. You've been doing this for, you said 2018, so what, we're going on 6 years now? I mean, you've got 10,000 subs on YouTube. You've got a video on TikTok that's gotten over 1 million views. You've, from what I'm seeing here in chat, you've got a community that loves you because they're well, you know, and some of them seem to be in love with you based on the comments that I read in here. So, or at least in love with your body from what I've seen. So, Z's, good luck to you.
They love me long time.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I
To
mean,
tell a happy ending.
I mean, when we interviewed Joker, you know, it took a little bit before the comments started. We sit down with you 5 minutes at a stream, and we've already got people talking about how you got a great body. So,
Yep.
I mean, Z's, good luck to you. You know, you got a fight on your hands with everybody here. So,
I love the positivity that comes out of you. You look at everything as, how do we make it better? How do we go around it? Like, it is definitely, I see why you fit in so well with Choker and Lucha and Sarah and everybody, because you have that positive outlook on how do we make it better? Where do we go from here? You know, and you're willing to take that criticism that's given to you and turn it into better content.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, it's not always positive. I definitely get down and depressed when it comes to content creation. Like I think most people do.
Mhm.
I think everybody has those moments. You know, why am I doing this? Is it even worth it? I've had that a lot. But because of Z's, she's helped push me through those, and now I've met such amazing freaking people. They're helping me push through those. I mean, I started this year really horribly. Some people know about it, most don't. But it was a really, really bad start of the year. But even with that, this year has been one of the best years I've ever had so far because of the community we have. It's freaking amazing. I still get my depressed moments. You know, a video that I worked super hard on might not do as well as I expected, or you know, stuff like that. But the key thing is to, and what I always suggest people is find a core reason to get past it and make that your core reason for everything. If you can do that, if you can find that core motivation that'll get you through, like I have for my family, then you'll get through all the down spots.
okay. So,
That's awesome.
what brings you down? You talk about how you still get down when it comes to content creation. Like you mentioned a video, right? But let's talk live streaming. What brings you down about live streaming? Like, what?
So, live stream, something that might bring you down. I had a couple weeks ago, maybe even last weekend, I did like a stream for a couple hours where I played Ark, and literally nobody came. Granted, it was a pop-up stream. I didn't advertise, whatever, but nobody came. So I sat there for a couple hours, you know, talking to myself. And, you know, when stuff like that happens, you can still feel, you know, like, damn, like, there was nobody, not even one person that came in and was like, hey, for 5 seconds. There was literally nothing. And, you know, when you're used to having, you know, a few people come in and then it's suddenly that zero, it's like, wow, that kind of hurts.
Right. So, do you talking about your content, right? I don't mean to like nitpick at it and everything, but do you find that your streams that are lacking in viewership do you notice if they're genre related?
Not really. I would say Arc, I've had some of my best streams and I've had some of my worst streams.
Okay. So my point for asking, right, is because I guess I'm looking at maybe I'm too narrow minded when I'm looking at myself. I have a hard time with survival streams, and I can understand why other people would too, because there are times when just crafting, like when I go into a stream, I like to engage, but I also like to watch what's going on at the same time, right? I got to have a healthy mixture of both. And sometimes I feel like survival streams can be very dry. And because like watching somebody just build something, yeah, it's interesting, but it's like you mentioned with Power. Watching somebody sit there for 30 minutes making bullets, I'm gonna struggle a bit. So that was why I was asking. Do you find that some your streams tend to lack more if it's a survival like that? Maybe just because sometimes crafting or building can be a little bit more dull versus say Call of Duty or Fortnite, where there's a lot of action constant.
I can see that, but I think there's a viewer for both.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, when it comes to survival games, even though you're sitting there crafting, it doesn't have to be dry. Yes, the content may be dry as far as just pure visuals, but at that time you have more time to interact, you have more time to hype up something you're going to do. I find that when I play survivals and I'm crafting, I'm constantly talking and hyping up what I'm crafting for. For example, we use Power World.
Mm-hmm.
I could be crafting the materials for the new armor so that I could go take on the new boss. Has anybody seen the new boss? Has anybody, tried this boss yet? Do you guys have any tips? I try to just hype up what I'm working towards during those kind of, as you say, sluggish moments. Um, and I can see that, for people who want to sit there and watch continual action. Yeah, I can see that as being boring or a downfall to them. But then you also have people that really enjoy those games, like Power World. I mean, it honestly, the first 2 weeks it came out, it didn't matter if your character never moved, people would watch you because they just
Mm-hmm.
like the idea of that game.
Mm-hmm. And it's
I
funny that you
agree.
say that because now when you look at the numbers from when it started till now, it's had such a huge decline. I mean, yes, there's still a large number of people playing it, but the decline has been jaw dropping. Honestly, when I read the numbers, like it went from like over 2 million in sales to where they're having a hard time averaging say 700,000 people now. I mean, that's a significant drop in players.
Well,
Uh,
I mean, it's a pre-release game. It doesn't have all the content. Everybody finished within like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Especially the hardcore gamers. They finished basically everything they could.
that's
Um,
true.
so yeah, it's gonna dip down, but I think once they add more content, then you'll have everybody jumping right back on that bandwagon for a week or two.
Let's hope they add enough content to make it worth your while to where it'll last you 6 months worth of decent content to where we're not waiting again for them to put out more content.
Right? Yeah, it would be nice. I don't know how it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me personally, I'm probably done with it until they add a lot of content. So, 2026, I may be back.
That's fair. Um, so,
Oh, Joker.
uh,
I
But
don't
I
even know
think
how to answer that question.
the thing with survival games is that will make them last longer is mods, community mods.
okay, explain what you mean by that.
Um, so if you take a look at Power World, a lot of the mods that they have are just simple replacement of skins or sounds or uh, INI settings. There's no real extra content to that. But if you take a look at Ark, you have brand new dinosaurs
Mm-hmm.
that the community has created, or somebody from the community has created, that everybody can download. They have maps that people have created that everybody can download. They have things like, for the original Ark, Primal Fear, which completely changed the whole game. Um, the community was able to make things kind of, if you take a look at Fortnite, they have those community created things where
Mm-hmm.
you can do different stuff. They had motocross racing, they had knockoffs of Phasmo, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's all new content that the community can put into the game, and if it's good, people who have the game will play it. That adds longevity. So I've done everything I can in Arc Ascended. I've done everything I can. But now I'm adding mods so I can still do new stuff after I've finished everything Arc put in there.
Okay.
And I
So
think that really helps with the longevity because you have more stuff to do.
I, I completely get you because I've always seen people talking about mods and stuff like, and I knew what it meant, but I never really like gave it a lot of like research to it because like I play survival on occasion. Like Power World was probably the first time I've really grinded out a survival game. I've dabbled in Ark. We'll lump Minecraft into that as well. To an extent. So I'm gonna ask this question because I'm watching chat here, and just to feed these guys a little bit here. Have you ever? And I'm gonna leave this very open ended. Okay, so answer it how you will. Have you ever done anything off the wall in a survival game? And I'm gonna be very just bizarre. Just something bizarre. I'm gonna say bizarre, okay? Because I don't want to. I'm curious if there's a fun story behind the answer. So a very, you got Joker and Lucha in here, so you can imagine why I'm asking this question. So it doesn't have to be related to that, but anything. Really.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay, a couple sides, I guess, a couple answers, just because it's so open-ended. I ended up in Power World making a room with a nice pal bed and some leaves coming out and a waterfall, and Aziz and I spent a lot of time in that room, teabagging and stuff. So sure, there's that. But as far as like off the beaten path and everything, probably something crazy I've done is in Arc. I built a fully functional bridge from one island to another that ended up going like, I don't know, 20 layers down into the ocean, and ended up taking over 20,000 stone and stuff. That
Jesus.
took forever.
And this was in what game?
Arc.
Ark. Huh.
Arc Ascended. I did a lot of that, but I think it just depends. I mean, on the forest, Sons of the Forest, we were around blatantly killing the cannibals just because it was, fun.
Right. I just had to ask just to I had to give these guys something here because some of the things they're telling me. So, but no, I mean,
Well, no, they're looking for that OF stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm waiting for Z's to come back in here and beat him off with a stick from these questions.
She'd join in. She'd join in.
Yeah, probably. I'm sure Lady would be right there behind her if the roles were reversed. So, no, I mean,
Hey.
there's all. I think and it's cool to hear that because I enjoy hearing stories like that because I feel with survival games, if you don't do something off the beaten path, it's you have to do something to bring a little bit extra to it to be like, oh look, it's not just this. You can have this kind of you can have so much more fun with it, and especially if you bring people into it, and having your story with Z's, having your significant other come in can make it fun for you guys as well. Sometimes you gotta be like, oh look what you can do, or like the laughs that you can get out of it, and then it's another way to connect with that person.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we talk.
Is that what you feel like with me?
What?
That's how you connect with me?
We connect in every kind of way. So.
Okay.
We talked about having some like depressed moments and everything. What is a moment that really stands out that really just brought you down? Like, has there ever been a moment that made you really like just about ready to hit that delete my account button?
Yes. My early days.
Mm-hmm.
I had a video I was doing on YouTube And the first comment I got on it was a long spiel about how every little thing, and I mean, they really picked me apart from my voice to my
Jesus.
projection to my looks to my gameplay. I mean, it was a paragraph of reasons that I should never stream again.
Holy fuck.
Wow.
Somebody
Yeah.
took that much time to
Yeah.
tell you that. Wow.
Oh yeah, that means straight out that I would never make it as a streamer because of this, and that, and this, and I should just give up and do something else. That one hit me hard. And it was early too.
Okay, so yeah, I can imagine if you're getting started and seeing that could be really. I can definitely get
I'd
that.
be pretty devastated.
I was. I'm like, it made me rethink everything. Is this how all people do? They just didn't want to say it, or you know,
Yeah.
it was rough.
How did you get past it? Like, what kept you going?
I think because it was so early, it was the, you know, okay, sure, maybe I'll never make it anywhere, but at least I'll have content for my kids.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much how I got through that.
Did you have any real high moments? Like one moment that just in your streaming career that just is one of those moments where you were like, fuck, did that just happen? Like it was mind boggling, like it blew you away.
Hmm. Um, Trying to think of like a specific moment that was just really crazy. I guess early on. So let me phrase it like this. With streaming, probably not so much other than, the great community that I have now. Um, that's definitely my high point on streaming, but as far as content creation, it was the opposite spectrum of where, you know, my videos ended up getting promoted on official World of Warcraft stuff. Um, that was like a holy shit moment. Like, really? I,
What's a huge
and
milestone?
yeah, I was playing WoW since like when I was a kid, basically, a teenager. And I never thought that I'd ever be anything official WoW. And so when I saw that kind of just blew me away. Like, holy shit, maybe I can do this.
Right. Yeah, I mean, to be featured on there like that would be really cool. So, going back to our previous question about you mentioned the video. Do you feel like your mindset then versus your mindset now? If you were to get that same paragraph basically now at this point, how do you feel like that would affect you now versus then? Do you feel like you could handle it better, or are you in a place where that might really set you down like a really bad path mentally?
That's a good question. I think because of the support that I have now, I would probably just laugh it off. I mean, I still get comments on YouTube where they're like, "Oh, that's not helpful," or "Oh, you're ugly," or "You're fat," or calling me racial slurs that have nothing to do with me. I don't know. I've gotten jaded to this point.
So you think
When it comes to
you feel you're in a better mindset then overall?
oh, for sure, for sure, I'm definitely in a better mindset, and
Okay,
don't think anybody at this point could say anything to get me to stop right now.
that's good to hear. Now I gotta ask on a side note: you get called racial slurs that you clearly aren't.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. I don't know how. I don't know if they even watched my video or if they're just, some random dumb troll. But yes, on YouTube, I've been called racial slurs that nobody would ever attribute to me.
Hmm. I mean, it really makes me want
That's
to laugh. Like, I
crazy.
don't want to laugh. I don't want to. I'll be honest, I kind of want to laugh because I don't know, if I'm going to shit talk somebody, I want to make sure that it hurts, you know? Like, I'm not going to call you something that has. Uh, just processing the logic
Right?
behind it. So I'm more stumped than anything, and I just kind of want to laugh at it, not, you know. Now, I do need to take a moment here, and I want to interject here. So, for everybody who's listening and for everybody who's watching, Lady and I do not advocate for supporters physically harming anybody, for haters or trolls of a streamer. Okay, I just want to put that out very clearly. We do not advocate for it. We do not endorse it in any way, shape, or form. Okay, that being said, how you choose to support people, that's your business. Just so we're clear, in case there's anybody watching that might have an issue with that. I just had to throw that in there because we've had some mentions of, you know, Zara, you seem to be so low. There are people willing to decapitate people for you. So I just needed to put out that we do not advocate decapitation or, you know, things like that. So.
Oh yeah.
But I appreciate that y'all support Zara that much, that y'all are willing to go that far. Like, that is great to hear that he's got that kind of support. So, and I know everybody here is joking, but, you know, since we're talking about trolls and everything, you know, might as well just, in case there is a troll or two listening in, or in case any of Zara's YouTube haters, you know, show up again.
Find along the podcast. Yeah.
So, going back to a high note, have you ever gotten somebody to, because this has actually come up for me and Lady, recently, people have made comments that I was not ready for in a positive manner, right? Have you ever had somebody like DM you or say something like in a positive light that has been like, well, shit, that's awesome to hear. I never realized anybody looked at me that way. Like take out the negative, you know, we want to look at the positive.
Sure. I mean, there's a couple aspects to that. With YouTube, you know, you get a lot of kids, and kids are, how do I say this, a little obsessive at times.
Mm-hmm.
So they will really, really hype you up to everybody that they can. And while, you know, we've mentioned before, having kids as an audience isn't always the best thing. But, you know, there are some kids out there who went through a rough freaking time, or are going through a rough freaking time, just like I did when I was growing up. And, you know, I've had kids come into my streams, and obviously on YouTube, my full name is Zaramux the Gaming Dad. So they'll come in and ask me questions that kind of at first throw me through a loop. But then I realized that, hey, this kid probably doesn't have a dad he can actually go ask.
Mm-hmm.
And he came to me out of all people and wanted advice. I mean, that was a high point for me.
That's awesome.
Like, I'm not trying to take anybody's parenting jobs or anything like that. Trust me, I have a hard time dealing with my own. But just knowing that I could be there for somebody who may not have that. I didn't have anybody like that when I grew up. And even if it was just for one moment in one day, if I made them feel like they had that kind of support, that's mentally the high point of my all of it.
Yeah, that is awesome. It is very exciting to hear. Like, I do get that because Lead being on YouTube had a kid who used to come in, sweetest kid alive, but just a lot on his plate, a lot going on. You know, had kind of like a breakdown with us one night, and we haven't seen him since. So for me personally, like, that's why it's so hard with kids, because you get invested and you want to know that they're okay, but at the same time, like, you don't want that relationship to be seen inappropriately either. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a hard call.
When I do it, I try to do it very generically.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, I don't want to. I don't like to go into specifics. I definitely don't want to ask kids about specifics.
Yeah.
But if they say something, and I can give some advice on that that's not really like controversial.
Mhm.
Obviously, I want to avoid any of that, but it's just typical advice you'd get. But they're not hearing it because they don't have anybody to tell them. Then that's awesome.
Hmm.
Right.
So you're not opposed to having a conversation. I'm going to be very broad or very vague with it, so it can be a simple yes or no. Having a conversation with somebody under the age of 18 on stream.
Having a conversation,
I'm being very,
no.
yeah, I'm being very broad because I've had people who have said if they find that there's somebody under the age of 18 in their stream, just due to maybe their content might be explicit or their opinions or whatever might be, um, whatever. They just try to avoid having non-adults in their stream. Period. So that's why I was.
I mean, I get that. It's the safe route, sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, but at the same time, you miss out on opportunities.
Right.
Some of these kids are really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to talk to them about adult things, obviously. And if I know they're around, I might tone down my language a bit.
Mhm.
But I don't want to just completely exclude them if they're cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they're coming in there and they're, trying to act up and obviously they need a parent to take care of them at the moment, that's different.
Right.
But when you have a kid that just comes in, 15, 16-year-old kid, and he's just chilling, just vibing, and he's not doing anything inappropriate or saying anything inappropriate, then no, I don't mind it.
So, random take because I've heard this happen. We've had some people tell us this. Have you ever had a parent come into your stream and like to check you out because their kid was watching you?
Yes. On YouTube, I had this kid that came in quite a lot, didn't speak much.
Mm-hmm.
And quite honestly, I didn't even know they were a kid. But then one day they started chatting, and it was the person's dad on the same account. Like, I guess just checking me out to see what I was, who I was. And, like, I get that. I mean, if my kids are watching something, I like to know what they're watching. I'd like to know if it's appropriate or not.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't bother me at all.
Mhm.
Okay. What would you give any streamer, really? I'm going to phrase it. I'm going to ask this in two parts. What would you give to any streamer at this point, from your experience, on how to improve? Let me rephrase this. How to survive as a content creator? Because I think that encompasses everything. Is there any advice, like mentally, stream wise, just any advice really that it'd be like, this is what I would tell you to keep going and to just be able to make it through?
Yeah, so a lot of people, they think they need all the best gear and stuff. To me, I think the most important thing that you have is the motivation and support.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is crucial that you find that motivation early, because every streamer goes through hard times. Every streamer goes through, is this worth it, etc. And if you have that motivation to push, then you'll make it. When it comes to content creation, the more you do it, the more practice you get, the more comfortable you get. And same thing with streaming and videos. Either way, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. Consider everything that you do practice. It's not, I had a failed stream because nobody came. No, you had practice of how to interact with yourself so that in your future streams, when people are coming in, in the beginning, you seem more interactive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, don't take everything so negatively. Try to find that silver lining. That's
Mm-hmm.
going to help you a lot.
Lady,
What?
I'm making sure you're listening to that.
I did. I heard it.
uh,
Didn't mean I
I mean,
listened to it, but I heard it.
she hurt me, but yeah, but no, I mean, that's the biggest thing I think that I would suggest to anybody, and it's not necessarily just streaming. I mean, in life in general, try to not focus so much on the negative, and that's hard for me to say because I am a very negative person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Z's will tell you she's the exact opposite of me. She is a, optimist, and I am very much a pessimist. So much that her optimism annoys me at times, and she knows this. Um, but the fact that I can sit here and say that in streaming you absolutely need to look at the positives, that should tell you something.
No, that's awesome. Okay, so now, second part to this question, okay, is what advice would you give to somebody who is just starting out as a content creator?
So I think the advice I would give them is to figure out what they want their content streams to be.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if they were doing YouTube or more kid-friendly stuff, is that who they want to be? Or do they want to be the person who is more adult orientated, vaping on streams, etc. And the reason I say to figure that out first is so you can decide where to put your effort. If you want to be yourself, then be yourself. Do the adult streams, be yourself, don't care. But if you want those kids, you want those numbers, etc., then work on being that person.
Mm-hmm.
Because mixing them is too hard. It's too hard and leaves you open to mistakes.
So it's
And
one
that's
or the
coming
other.
from and that's coming from someone who's done both, as we've mentioned before. But it can lead to mistakes. It can, and you don't want to get caught up in those mistakes because then you get caught up in the drama.
Okay, I like it. So random question: graphics artist, do you get plagued with those like everybody else seems to?
Yes, not so much on live space, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but Twitch, when I was doing Twitch, oh yeah, constantly, and I still get them on Twitter, um, stuff like that. But I'm kind of, I'm kind of one of those people who's like, that they'll message you and they'll be like, "Hey, how you doing?" They want to do all that small talk crap,
Mm-hmm.
and as I've mentioned, I'm pretty antisocial. So my standard response is, "Hey, I'm doing great. If you're looking to give me art, I don't need any."
There you go. I like it because
I'm
it's
very to the
just
point.
directed to the point. I got you. No, I like it. Sometimes I fuck with them. I made the mistake one time of actually engaging with one and then checking out their work, and so, it, and I'm reading chat. Somehow we got on graphics artists here now, so I was curious, because I've seen a couple of people like they don't seem to have that issue. Um, the other one that I've seen that's popping up lately, besides graphics artists, is it seems like on Twitter, uh, porn bots are starting to show up, or
Hmm.
like I click on a link because it's not your typical like what you'd expect for like a graphics artist. So I click on it out of curiosity, and it's like it's a link to a porn site in their bio. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's what's starting to come around now. So,
Well, that or if you'll see all the tweets. If you say good morning to me, I'll send you a full nude or a video. It's like, dude, there are websites for this. This is not it.
yeah. So I was just,
Yeah, I've seen that a bit on Twitch, but if, funny enough, YouTube, most of my spam on there is porn.
that, yeah,
That's
I've noticed
crazy.
that too. That is a bit odd, considering, you know, their guidelines for that stuff. But, yeah. So, fun question. Fun for everybody listening, depending on on your answer. I was looking at yours and Z's numbers, and I'm gonna put Lady under the hot water on this one because Lady always seems to feel like she's in competition with me. Do you ever feel like you compete with Z's when it comes to just, let's say, metrics when it comes to content creation?
Nah, not at all. Um, I think a big part of that is one, she's very newer at it. She literally started like uh end of January, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but two, she's always been my biggest supporter, and so I plan on trying to be her biggest supporter. And if I'm worried about, numbers, etc., then that's just gonna screw things up.
Fair enough.
And also, she doesn't ever plan on monetizing because of her disability.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of more like, yeah, there's two channels, but everything is funneled into our family either way.
That's fair. Um,
See, I find that very interesting because I fight with lead for numbers. So, like, I'll look right now, lead sitting, I'll use this as an example. On live space, lead sitting at 77. I'm sitting at 63. I will look at him and be like, what the fuck? Same content, same thing, same everything. What the fuck? We are the same damn stream, for Christ's sake. I don't get it.
that's
And
why
then-
this is why I'm asking, is because this is what I get. Now,
And then you'll get into we're not even going to get into the other conversations that, like, he's competitive in gaming, I'm competitive in numbers. Like, he'll look at me at the end of the stream and be like, hey, was the stream good tonight? Yeah, it was all right. Yeah, I peaked at this. Well, fuck you, I peaked at this. Like, that was good for me. Be happy for me.
I am happy for you though. Like, no, but that's why I'm asking, is because, like, some people, and in her defense, like, we're making jokes and everything, right? So she does use it as she makes it a conversation. What could I do better? Like, all jokes aside. So
Everything.
that's why I was wondering if there's ever, like, moments like that where, like, it might start off as, yeah, you guys might be in, and I'm air quoting here, in contest with each other, but do you find, like, if you do you find a way to turn it into, like, constructive, positive growth or constructive criticism? Like, how can, like, do you guys ever have those conversations?
I don't. I think at some point she might have said that she was kind of worried about that. I may be wrong about this. I may be just misremembering. But it's never really been a forethought to me. I hope she does well. I hope she gets lots of people in her chat so that she can find more people to play games with. Honestly, the biggest thing with her streaming on my end was, you hear a lot about, creeps coming into female streamers
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
and all that kind of stuff. And she was a little bit worried, she doesn't want me to get jealous or anything, but I know she's going to handle it. I'm not worried about that, but I don't really have that aspect. I've never had anybody come in and start hitting on me other than Joker and Lucha.
That doesn't surprise me.
You haven't been lucky enough to have a lead moment.
Yeah, no, I've not, and she already has. So it was interesting to see, but like I said, I'm not so worried about it. It was just kind of like that's the difference between us and streaming. As far as numbers go, basically, we've kind of worked it out to where she can't monetize. Like my monthly sub goal for this month is to get a certain amount of subs so that we get her hair dye and stuff. So
Okay.
that she can funnel whatever over to me and I funnel whatever over to her. So we're
Okay.
kind of working together in that aspect, and all the sub stuff that we get is typically for stuff that we do. Like last month, I did it and I dyed my hair. It was supposed to be pink. It turned out blonde. But stuff like that, and we're just kind of looking at it as we're both doing our thing, we're both having fun, and anything financially wise goes to both of us anyway. So it doesn't really make a difference who has more numbers.
It shouldn't for me either, but it irks my soul.
Well, I
Irks
mean,
my soul.
at least with that you have the ability to, look at it and think of ways to improve. So I mean, you have a motivate English hard. You have something to incentivize you to work harder, which, can be the healthy side of competition, right?
There is no healthy competition with us.
No.
If you saw us play Fortnite today, you know that there is no healthy side of competition with
Well, no.
us.
What he's talking about, though, baby. Like, I know you're trying to be funny and everything, but like, yes, you do feel like you compete with me. Um, but the conversation, we always turn it into, okay, well, try this. Hey, have you thought about this? That's why one of the reasons why I push you so hard. Okay, you're saying that you want more attention to you. Like, you sometimes, like, ladies told me at times she felt like she gets overshadowed by me. Right. And I said, well, why don't you do content that is solely about you? One of the things being, she is a fantastic quilter. And I wish she would get back to it because I feel like Live Space would be great for her to do it, is to do a quilting stream again. So, it's conversations like that. Try this. Try this. Try, just different nudges to get her to do it. So that's what, I try to turn it into. As much as it might turn into like joking or, in her mind, unhealthy competition talk, it usually ends up in a positive way. Now, I do have
No,
a
it is
question.
always positive, but it is frustrating at the same time.
So I do have a question, like kind of going back a little bit towards the beginning of this question, since Z's popped in the chat here. You said you made a comment. So you guys have had a moment where Z's was streaming and somebody came in like trying to hit on her. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
How did you handle that? I know
I
you said she handled it well.
basically I basically ignored it. I mean, a week or two after it happened, I mentioned it to, some of my close people. Um, but I pretty much ignored it. I didn't really say anything on stream or office stream to her, but, she took care of it. I didn't really have anything to worry about.
Okay. So you weren't like, for me, if somebody comes in and tries anything like that, I get extremely hostile and very. I had one guy come into our YouTube stream one time when at one point we were only doing YouTube before we came over to Live Space. We did a couple of streams there, and she was streaming one night. Somebody came in, and maybe I misread it, but um, she handled it fantastically. I was very territorial, and afterwards going back and reading it, I'm like, huh, maybe I handled that
Y'all,
wrong.
if he could have pissed all over me and like tattooed his name across my body and like had a huge sign in neon that says taken, 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 leads, leave alone, it would have all been there. But I did the same thing the night he had some chick come into his YouTube stream. Him and I are gaming together. We are in the same chat. And this chick literally was like, "Oh, you're cute." And then all of a sudden she's like, "Who's that woman talking?" And he's like, "That's my wife." And she was like, "Oh, okay, but you're cute." That poor man was
Wow.
so uncomfortable. He didn't know what to say because he was trying so hard to be polite. My
Right?
answer was like, bitch, go to fuck it, get to stepping. Bye. Like, I don't need you.
That totally would have been me. I would have been there like, oh, thanks. Yeah, my girlfriend thinks so too. I mean,
Well,
what do you
it was,
say in that situation?
Well,
I think he was,
for me,
go ahead.
being a guy, I had to be very careful about my responses because it's one thing if I'm gonna say something to a guy, it's viewed differently than if a guy is basically shit
Attacking a
talking.
girl.
Exactly. Um, but and not only was lady saying something, but my whole entire chat was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" So
Yeah.
um, yeah,
And then she went on the attack of like, well, I'm not a kid. And we were like, dude, then why aren't
doesn't
you
matter,
listening?
Um, my thing was, it doesn't matter if you're a kid or not. Like stop. So
Yeah.
now I was just curious, how if you would have handled it, how you handled it compared to how I handled it. So
I still get
Yeah,
the
I'm pretty
occasional, but
laid back.
there you go. Do you have you
No,
ever
if it would have kept on, I would have banned them.
right? Yeah, definitely understand that. Do you ever do community days? Like, because you play a lot of survival games, right? That's probably the easiest genre to do community days for, or say WoW, for instance. Like, do you get your community in to play with you?
I try to play with my community every chance I get. I wouldn't say days. It's basically if they have the game I'm playing, they're more than welcome to join.
Okay.
I mean, at this point where, I don't have a huge community, it's not difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But, if I were to get a larger community where, I had 10 to 15 people trying to play a game that's only 4 player, then at that point, yeah, I'd probably have to do like specific days or something.
Okay. Now, so you just open other doors up to anybody? Like, there's no requirements in order to be involved with community days.
No, no. Basically, anybody that has a game, I'm willing to play with them. If they do something to jeopardize my stream or something, then I don't play with them again. Basically.
Right. No, I was just wondering because so my next question with the sub goals, right? You guys, like, that's why I was asking is like I've seen streamers with sub goals or who promote subs by saying, okay, you want to join in, you have to sub to me, or you have to be following me here and here. Like, there's always seems to be like a catch. Like, you basically they have to pay to be able to play with you.
Oh, hell no. Sorry, but no. I've never been into the aspect of, you have to buy my attention. I no.
Okay.
I like to play games with people because it's fun. If they want to help me out, or like this one, I said our specific goal is, if we get the subs, then we'll have Z's dye her hair on stream. That's one thing, but just randomly playing with me, no, you don't have to follow or you don't have to. You definitely don't have to pay anything.
Gotcha. Now your sub goals. Does that you made the comment, and I'm gonna make sure I heard you correctly. Is it does it all of that go back into stuff for the stream, like hair dye or whatever? Does that all they get turned around back into the stream, or how do you handle
I would
subs?
say mostly. Um, as I mentioned, some of it possibly does go to food or stuff for the family. It just depends. I try to keep it to a reasonable amount for what we need for the task.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but sometimes we might find deals, whatever, get it a little cheaper, and then in that case, anything extra goes into the family.
Okay. No, and that's really cool. You don't see a lot of people like these days. It seems like everybody's all in it for the money to pay their bills, so they can, they want to be a full time content creator or streamer, and so they're all about the subs. I mean, that seems to be more predominant on Kick than anywhere really, or at least that's where I seem to see people talking about subs to get them to being able to do this more. Um, So that's why I was curious, because I don't get a whole lot of subs, so I don't really know what to do with it when it comes in. It's usually just comes in, and that's why I really don't set goals, is because I don't really like doing this. Listening to all you guys has actually like made me think, okay, maybe it's time to really start having a direction or having more than just this. And so like that's why I was curious to hear your take on it. It really wasn't a point to it other than just wanting to hear your take on what to do with the subs. So
Yeah, well, I mean, I think having goals can be nice, but also, be prepared not to hit those goals. And that's kind of the harder part for me.
mhm.
Like, if we don't hit it this month, I probably still will end up spending extra money just to get her to dye because I know she wants to dye her hair.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get help to do it so that I don't have to take away from, other things for
Oh
the
yeah,
family.
absolutely. Like somebody put in there, you're already doing something you enjoy. You get a sub, you enjoy it. You're getting somebody obviously likes you enough that you're getting paid to do something you love. So you're already here doing it. So why not? So I get it
Right.
100%. 100%.
And I'm definitely not under the mindset that I'll ever be a full-time streamer.
Mm-hmm.
It would take a lot, especially, with the family and circumstance is that I have. It'd take way too much to be a full-time streamer. So it's a supplement to make my family's life better.
Okay.
Makes
Um,
sense.
got a question in here from Sarah. And Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm reading this incorrectly. What's been the most memorable moment is for you from when it's come to streaming? Like this, the first thing that pops. We're gonna say. I was looking at this here. What's the first moment that pops in your head? The first great moment that pops in your head when you think back over the last 6 years?
I would say more of a generalized is when I get a bunch of people playing a game with me.
Do you get that often?
That those tend to be my most memorable moments. Like, hey, I actually got this many people to come play this game with me just randomly. That's freaking cool. I guess to be more specific, I was streaming this game called Dragon Ball The Breakers for a while. It was basically like Dragon Ball Z take on Dead by Daylight, where you can have 8 people on a match. We ended up getting a full lobby and being able to just, play the way we wanted to play and just have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really, really cool.
Okay. When you get, how many times would you say you've had a large enough number of people that it stands out to you? Was it a lot, or can you count on one hand the amount of times it's happened?
I would say it's more rare. Like I guess recently though, this depends. Is your question more geared towards having that many people to play a game or that many people on stream?
Play a game, like actually join you. Let's say Arc, right? Because you can create the server to allow so many people, right? What's been the most that you've been able to get into a game?
So on Arc, probably about 7 or 8.
Hmm.
Um, but it's kind of hit or miss. But I would say that's a fairly high number for me. Usually, I can get 1 to 2 people to play a game with me. So anything over 5, I think, would stand out to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Now shifting to another numbers question. Since we talked about subs, what is the most subs you've gotten in a month? Like, if you were to track it that way.
I would say that this month probably is my highest month so far at 16. No, 14.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's probably the highest I've gotten in a single month.
Mm.
Yeah, I can't think of any times it was any more than that.
Okay. I mean that's completely fine. I don't think I've seen more than that. I don't think I've seen more than 6 or 7. No, sorry. 11, I streamed on Kick for a little bit, and I got it on Kick. But before that, I mean, when I first came to Twitch, from Mixer, I mean, that's when I saw huge numbers. I was doing great over there for a while. But since then, I think my average is probably usually 4 or 5. So I mean, shit, 14. I'd be shitting myself if I saw 14 subs in a month's time frame.
Oh,
You
it's
know.
been freaking awesome. There's a couple people that apparently really want Z's to dye her hair purple.
Nice.
So that's definitely helps. But, she's got a lot of hair. It's going to take like 2 bleach kits and like 4 boxes of dye. I'm not kidding.
Oh wow.
Okay. Now, are we talking dark purple, light purple? Like, what are we? Does she have a?
It's purple. Who cares?
Probably like a brighter purple, I would assume.
Because her hair is like, what is it? It's she's more of a brunette now, right? If I saw that correctly.
Oh, it's black. She's
Black.
got black hair.
Okay, I wasn't sure on the lighting, so I was like, So yeah, that definitely is going to take a lot just to get it light enough. Then, yeah.
Yep, we're gonna have to do a lot. And those bleach kits, when I got mine last month, bleach kit was like almost $30.
So,
You might want to consider buying the powder and the liquid and doing it that way. It's sometimes cheaper.
Yeah,
You'll have to
might
measure it, but it is cheaper that way.
lady used to dye her hair like she changed her underwear every day.
That's why I don't have any. It's why it's falling out in droves.
So,
No, purple is my favorite color too, Z's, so we're good. It doesn't matter what color it is. I'd be excited for purple.
So have you been like with everybody else? Because I'll be honest, I'm jealous. I see these tweets and I hear people talking about it, and I get a little jealous, right? Have you had a chance to sit down with Todd or Spencer or anybody in like the live space higher ups and talk with them about live space yet?
Nope, not at all. Yeah, I mean, Todd came to my stream, like, as he does to many people's streams, and Spencer has liked a few of my posts, but that's about the most interaction I've had with them other than Todd days.
Okay.
I would love
Right.
to, sit down one-on-one, but,
Pick their
who knows,
brains.
maybe in the future.
Yeah. I wouldn't mean it in a bad way. Like I said, I just was curious because I was something I was thinking about since we were talking. I'm just thinking back over everything, and we talked about a bit about live space and the future for it, and it made me realize I was like, everybody so far, or majority of people have said they've sat and talked with them. Dana had said she didn't get the chance, but her first stream was right after Todd days, or started right during, and he ended up rating her. So I was just curious.
I think a lot of the people that we've spoken with that have spoken with him are boosted people, so they have that scheduled time,
Yeah.
like to talk to them, to like fill them in on what they feel the community is looking for.
That's fair. I was just
I think most of the people I've heard of talking to him directly are boosted.
Hmm
Oh yeah, we did get
He
clarification.
he schedules meetings with boosted community.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Like I said, it's a jealousy factor because I would, it would be cool to be able to say I spoke with I don't want it for clout. I just want to be able to say, hey, I had to speak with them. It'd be a cool moment for me just for myself.
Mhm.
So I was just curious.
Yeah, no, for
I
sure.
just want to
think-
know. I just want to know where my boosted email is, like everybody
Right?
else. Like
Right?
I'm pretty amazing. Everybody's amazing. We should all have one.
I mean, it's
Saying.
almost March, so maybe they'll come out with a new round.
Mhm.
I honestly, for me, I think it would just be cool to have that like wow moment to say yes, I was boosted, not for any other reason, but just as like that would be a highlight of my streaming career for me. That would be it.
For sure. And that's how it is for me, too. Like, when it comes to boosted, I don't care about the subs. I mean, this month and last month I did pretty well, but it's whatever. It's the point of I've never been anything like this with any kind of streaming platform. And, it's I guess just the prestige of it. Like, wow,
Exactly.
I'm really a part of this.
Mm-hmm. It's like Z said. It's like your Hogwarts letter. Everybody wants their Hogwarts letter.
So
She nailed it on the head. It's like I want my Disney acceptance letter. Like, hello, you've been accepted for life here. to come and go as they please.
or at least the next year anyway, as far as LiveSpace is concerned.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But what is your average view count when it comes to your YouTube videos? Since we're on the subject.
Ooh. Average. That's
If you had to throw out a
hard.
rough number.
A lot of videos will get. If I had to throw out a rough number, I'd say 100.
Okay.
Some videos, like I've mentioned, have hit 200,000 plus. Some videos I still get like 3 watches on. It's really weird.
So you've gotten
Like you never
200,000
know.
You've gotten 200,000 views on a YouTube video?
Yeah.
Wow.
My highest
You have Leeds' attention now.
video is
Leeds gonna pick your
200
brain on what you did.
249,399 is my highest one.
Jesus, okay.
And then I've got one for 173, 137, 136, 121, 120.
Are those WoW videos?
Those are WoW videos.
Yeah.
That's
Every
what I
single one of
figured.
them.
Now I hear you clicking there.
My highest non-WoW video is 61,000.
Damn.
And what was that?
That was top 10 tames on Primal Fear Arc Survival Evolved.
Okay. So,
Interesting.
okay. Now since I hear you clicking back there, I'm assuming you're on your YouTube channel real quick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Do you want to send me that link real quick?
The link for my YouTube? Yeah.
So my point for asking about your numbers on YouTube, do you feel like your numbers, because those, to me, that's pretty damn good viewership, for not, and I know a lot of people hate labeling streamers, big streamers or small streamers, but to not be considered a big streamer, do you think that those numbers should have been taken into consideration for getting you to accepted into the boosted program?
I think yes, because of the fact that I've started including live space like actually in the videos.
Mm-hmm.
I think that yes, that's something that I would hope that they would factor in,
Right.
especially since a big part of the boosted program, at least from what I feel, is they want you to put the live space name out on other platforms that you have a following on,
Okay.
to basically promote live space. So, I mean, with some of these numbers, yeah, I can do it. Just recently, some of my shorts, I have, 5,000, 3,000, 7,000, 2,000, and that's all within like the last month.
Okay.
So, that's a lot of people seeing the live space.
Yeah.
Whether or not they come over to live space, I have no idea.
At least they're seeing it though.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting some kind of visibility towards it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would hope that those numbers would be taken into consideration.
Okay. I had a question. My brain just spaced out completely here. So, chat, real quick, while I try to remember my question that I just had. I did drop his YouTube link for those of you on live space. We do have Twitch up and we do have YouTube for those of you guys. Please make sure you go and drop him a follow. Check out his content. Make sure you like and subscribe. I know it, since we're talking YouTube, if I remember my question. When you started out on YouTube, right, did you have a hard time getting people to understand, hey, I appreciate you being here, but do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, at least like the video if you're streaming or putting a video up. Like, some people will watch it, and then it seems like they forget to hit that thumbs up button.
Oh, I think I still do. I mean, from what I've seen, a majority of people don't give it the thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
Like even in my higher videos, with crap tons of views, like for example, the highest video at 249,000. It only has like 6,000 likes,
Interesting.
but its percentage of likes to dislikes is 98%, which means most people, didn't dislike it. More people liked it, but there's still, 2,500 or 250,000 basically compared to 6,000 in likes. I think a lot of people still don't do it. It's just, I don't know why. I don't understand. Like, if you've watched the video and you didn't hate it, then why not give it a like?
Right. Now, going through your videos, right? So I'm actually kind of got a couple of questions here. Did you find that your views were better towards the beginning of your YouTube career? Because like I'm going just in the last couple of months, right? We've been talking numbers and your high numbers and everything. Do you find that you have better luck when it comes to just short form content or long term content? Because like if I compare I'm on your shorts and I'm seeing like you said 4.6K, 3.7K right on the shorts, but then I go to your live section or your videos, right? The numbers are drastically different. Do you?
Oh yeah, for sure. So when I first started YouTube, shorts wasn't even a thing. Um, I just did long form content. It took me forever to get like my first 100, let alone my first 1,000.
Okay.
I think I got my first 1,000 in by 2020, maybe.
So about a year and a
Um,
half to 2 years roughly.
yeah, so it took forever to get that.
Okay.
Um, when it comes to shorts, though, I think right now, and at least in the last few months, YouTube has really been pushing shorts.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just because of the way YouTube is pushing those, you're gonna get more views from those.
Well,
Um,
and then now
I
with didn't they just change it to where you can stream to YouTube not in the horizontal form, but basically on the shorts feed, so your streams will pop up if people are scrolling through the shorts, kind of like on TikTok.
Yep, they did. They did
Okay.
basically to mimic TikTok, but they're definitely pushing shorts a lot right now. So I always recommend like do the shorts. But the other thing I recommend is I'm bad about this personally,
Mm-hmm.
just because there's so many hours in the day and I'm popping out, you know, anywhere from 50 to 100 videos a month.
Oh
Uh,
Jesus. Okay.
I'm bad about making shorts that lead to the long form. Um,
What do you mean?
somebody can do that if they can take a short that's, really interesting and make it very clear that people can see more of this in this specific long form video.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would really benefit their long forms.
Okay. That's,
Like maybe tagging like a link.
Yeah, like pin the link to the comment because you can pin a comment and that can be your own comment. So,
Mm-hmm.
you could, for example, the first comment you write on your short is to see more of this or, to see the rest of this, click here
oh
and then
damn! I
give
didn't
them
even
the link
think
to the
about that.
video.
Okay. I didn't even think
I
about that.
think I'm terrible at it. I don't do it. I should do it. It's good advice. I just haven't done it.
Wow, that's actually great advice because if I see that, then okay, that's all right. Definitely gives me some food for thought on what I can do because I sit here and I will look at video stuff all the time trying to figure out. Um, I get my last major question since we're on YouTube because I think I've pretty much asked you every which way I can go through. Trying to pick apart what you do with content, how you interact with people. Actually, I got two questions. So we're gonna talk with when you turn on LiveSpace, right? Like, let me back up. Do you watch other platforms besides LiveSpace? Let's start with that.
I still watch some on Twitch,
Okay.
but the majority of my time is spent on live space.
So then,
Okay.
my follow up question to that is: do you just go to people that you already know, or do you like to search out new faces as well?
It it varies from time to time. I get in moods where I want to go out and reach out to new people,
Hmm.
and I do. Um, but I would say right now I'm kind of at a point where I worked hard at that. I went to, with Live Space, a lot of booming coming in this year. I've done a lot of, quote unquote networking, trying to, chat with other people, etc. Um, and I feel at one point I probably spread myself a little too thin. So I've kind of pulled back. And so right now I'm at a point where I'm basically just going to the people that I follow already.
Okay. So when you're looking for a new face, okay, um, how do you go by category, or do you just kind of like browse through until something just jumps out at you?
On LiveSpace, I just browse through.
Okay.
Um, Previously on Twitch, when I was looking for stuff, I definitely would do category.
Okay.
Um, but LiveSpace is a little bit different, I think.
Yeah, it's a little bit
My
harder to get
mindset
into
is
the
more,
category.
yeah, yeah, and I can go through and, see, and there's no obviously viewer count that I can see, so I
Mm-hmm.
don't know this person's great, this person's bad. Not bad, but you know what I mean.
Until you actually
Um,
open it up. I get.
so
I
like
know what you're getting at.
On Twitch, when I looked for people with low views because I never wanted to be in, a stream where some guy's having a hard time, chatting with 30, 40 people. I want to get to know the person to see if I'm going to enjoy their content.
Okay.
Um, Obviously, on Live Space, you can't really make that determination. So it's just kind of, you know, I guess my mindset's a little bit different. I just go in, I watch for a while before I say anything. If they're somebody I feel like I can vibe with, then I'll say something, and, you know, depending on how the conversation goes, I may be back. But it's just, I don't know. It's really different. Like I said, I spread myself too thin at one
Mm-hmm.
point. And so right now I've kind of really pulled back.
That's fair. Um,
Okay, so Sarah has a question. She says, "Do you often get cold feet before streaming, and what makes you overcome it if you have?"
Um, the only time I get cold feet is when there's no games that I really want to play.
Mhm.
Um, because I feel like if I'm going to hate playing whatever I'm playing, I'm not going to give my best to the audience.
Okay.
So that kind of gives me cold feet. What I do to push through it is just, remind myself that, this could be the day where if somebody wants to talk about something that could really affect them, and if I'm not there, then, you know, maybe I won't be able to help them.
so you feel, in a sense, you feel you have a responsibility to go live because somebody might need you in some capacity.
I guess so. I never really thought about it that way. Um, but I guess so, because that's a big thing for me. Like I mentioned that moment with that kid. And now, if somebody's going through a hard time, like, Luch is going through a hard time or Joker is going through a hard time, I want to be available for them. Um, Although I, for most people, I am available for through Discord or whatever, but maybe they just need that time. I have a friend who is bipolar, and there's times when I know for him watching me stream it just relaxes him,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of thing makes me feel really good. If I can help somebody while doing this, then shit, that's all the better.
Okay. That's really cool, and I really admire that. Because you're right, you never know. Maybe somebody just needs an escape. Needs just to separate, and maybe they just you never know how it could affect somebody, and that's something to keep in mind. and I hear Lucha, and I've heard Joker talk about it. Um, it's one of the reasons why, all joking aside, I know Lucha loves to joke and likes to claim that he's wild, but using those two, for example, they have made a point of saying we're here for you. It's like they make it
Mm-hmm.
a point of making sure that people know that while they like to have fun, they're also there to support people as well. And so I like the way that you're doing that as well. In your own light. And I can see why you guys all vibe well together, because you guys all seem to have the same principles and the same, I think principles is the better
Philosophy.
philosophy. Thank you. I knew it would start with a P that I wanted towards it. So I really admire like all you guys for that. Um, and yeah, no. So I think this is
You
what I
hit
love.
the nail.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I can expand on that anymore. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's good. Not everybody's like that, I know. Um, and some people say they're like that and they're not.
mhm.
But just the way I figure it, if you can help anybody who's going through a bad day, um, that's great. Like I said, my friend with bipolar, I know he goes through times where, just everything sucks for him and it's rough. And if he can come in and watch my stream and that helps him chill out and not have those negative thoughts, then that's freaking amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Um, Sorry, me and Chen kind of got hit with a serious moment. Beyond obviously we're talking serious, but we talk about mental health and everything, and I'm reading Lucha's comment
Mm.
here, and talking about yours. You've made reference that you. I mean, no disrespect when I say this, so I apologize for how this might come out, but you've touched on your mental health is not always. It has its ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it seems almost fitting that you. It seems like you and Lucha kind of tie into each other. At least the way that you've worded things, Joker and Joker as well. But you guys have all made it a point that you guys want to be here for people, and I'm. This is one of the reasons why I love doing this. And I want to do more of this is because to hear you guys talk about how you are invested in being there for people, whether it's your own close circle or just, in your case, Zara, making it a point to be here for anybody who might need you. I wish more people thought about things like that, because in what Lucha put in chat, losing two friends to suicide, um,
It takes a hit.
there needs to be more people like you guys that are out there for people, and to hear that there's a place to come to that maybe you could make that critical impact to where it doesn't happen, you know.
Well, I'll give you my input on this. When I look at like Lucha, Joker, and like Z, I think long term, like men's mental health. Like we talk about how men's mental health is so overlooked because it's not cool to cry, or it's not cool to put your feelings out there, and you don't want to be. You made the comment the other night, you don't want to be labeled as a pussy, or as a crybaby. But the thing is to have the right group of men who can support each other and balance that mental health out to where you can all kind of help each other. That's something you don't see all the time, and that's something that is completely admirable, because it's so important, because we don't talk about it enough. Men's mental health is shoved under the rug, and we just expect that if there's something wrong that you guys are going to come to us, and that's not always the case. Sometimes you guys need more than just hey, it's going to be all right, you know. So I think that it's really awesome that you guys do have such a great bond as a group of guys to where you guys can help deal with those things and be okay to, handle it so you're not handling it on your own.
So a question comes to mind, Zara. Before I think, unless ladies got anything else, two last things I want to use to wrap it up. You've talked about your mental health, right, to some capacity, and we're touching on this. Do you ever turn your stream? Do you find that you turn your stream on and you're putting on a brave face? Like, is there times where you feel like you have to put on a show and not be that positive person? Is there times where do you feel like you're hiding how you're really feeling behind the scenes? Does that make sense?
I would say somewhat slightly. Um, if I'm having a bad day, um, or whatnot, and I'm on stream, I try to, yes, be more positive, but there's been times where I've talked about some of this stuff and I've literally been on tears in stream. Um, not my best moment, but you know, I like to try to keep it as real as possible
So you're not
without pushing anybody away.
so you're not afraid to let people see you hurt.
No, I'm more afraid to let people see me rage than me being hurt,
What do you mean?
honestly. You know, raging in games, getting angry, etc. I'm more adverse to showing that than I am showing me being upset or sad.
Okay. Are you afraid you're going to be judged for it?
I don't I don't know if it's necessarily judged.
Might be too harsh of a word, but
I think, there are those, YouTube things where they specifically look for rage moments, etc. And yeah, I guess I have a slight fear of falling privy to being in one of those.
okay.
But also, I guess I like people to feel more relaxed around me. Um, I've even said with some of my stuff that I have more commentary, kind of a play on words, as opposed to, the hyper or rage streamers. I'm more of a calm person, and I want people to have those kind of calmer, more comfortable vibes. And I feel like if I'm sitting there raging out on a video game, that I'm, pushing away those people that I want.
Okay. The last thing, because I think I've covered everything that I can think of without like really just like reaching really deep on, to keep the conversation going. What is something, just anything out there, like just what is a message you would leave people with before, we end this episode here?
Sure, I guess the best message I can think of is don't be so quick to judge. There's a lot of people that have gone through a lot of things. Not everybody's willing to talk about it. But, there's no real, at least in my opinion, no real reason to be quick to judge and all of that, because most of the stuff that people are getting upset about right now doesn't even affect them. And that's just inviting, those negative feelings in for no reason. You may not agree with what somebody else is doing, but why judge them? It's not affecting you.
That's fair. Well, guys, before we sign off, does anybody have any last minute questions for Zara here? Zara, I do appreciate you coming on and doing this with us. I definitely enjoyed the conversation, even, it got a bit heavy in
Hmm.
a few spots. Um, but once again, you had some great insight and some great advice in your own way, which I believe anybody listening to this definitely they need to take a listen to. Um, and guys, please make sure you guys go check out Zara.
Hmm.
I was in the process here of trying to get your link for anybody that's not already following. You guys got his YouTube. Um, let me pull this up here. Lady, do you have any last questions?
No, I don't. You guys have caught like I kind of sat back a little bit tonight because I was enjoying the conversation and kind of gave you my 2 cents here and there where I felt it was needed, but just enjoyed the conversation and really enjoyed getting to know Czar so much because we haven't really gotten that opportunity. So for me, I really feel like we've gotten a whole nother side of you, and I really do love that.
What? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
it's been really awesome. I mean, I didn't know what to expect or
I hope we
whatnot, and I
didn't.
was nervous.
Nah, you did great.
no, you did awesome. So we do have a last question from Botch. What's been the hardest thing for you throughout your career, and how did you overcome that? Like, what was your motivation to keep going?
Sure. So I guess when we're talking, streaming career, etc., the hardest thing for me probably to deal with was my anxiety. Um, as I've mentioned, I'm a bit quieter
Mm-hmm.
than I feel I should be. Um, I'm just not at the level that I want to be yet, as far as being able to keep conversations and chat going, or even when I have no chat, being talkative. That's been a real hard obstacle that I've been dealing with. And like I said, really early on, I got hit with that. Like, your voice is not meant for this, you don't speak enough, blah, blah, blah. Um, as far as overcoming it, I would say I'm making strides to overcome it by continuing to work on it, continuing to get more comfortable, trying new things, stuff like that. But it is very much still a work in progress.
Yeah, I feel that 100%. I find I
Hmm.
still struggle with that when there's dead or quiet moments in the chat. I sometimes will just get more engrossed in what I'm doing on stream rather than paying attention to chat, and it's bit me on the butt a few times. I've missed some messages that come through, and then it's like, shit, I missed that opportunity to talk to somebody. Um, Botch says, yeah, I feel that. I'm quieter, which is ironic because I'm loud on stream, but IRL, I'm in my room 24/7 other than going to events. Um, and don't think you're not the only ones who hates their voice or has been criticized. Like, I criticize my voice. I listen back and I load these podcasts and I'm like, fuck, everybody else sounds so normal and I sound like I'm chewing on my tongue sometimes. Like, I'm always just like, fuck, I really don't want to hear myself, like nobody else is going to want to listen to this. So, um,
We are our harshest critics.
yeah.
Very true.
I mean, shit. After the first episode with System, I'm listening to the playback, and I'm like, fuck. I just need to sit back and just write out the questions for Lady and let her talk because her voice sounds better than mine. So,
Oh my God, shut up. No, no, no. I hear my voice every day, at least 100 times a day. No fucking way. You are
no, I'm just
so wrong
saying.
on every level.
I'm just saying, like, I go through the same things. I listen back, and it's like I said, you're your harshest critic. And sometimes I
Hmm.
sit there and I really just rag on myself, and it's like, if I'm feeling like this, God only knows what everybody else thinks.
Yep.
Or, I guess
Yeah,
we could just
I
start
get
doing what
that.
Lucha does, just sit on the speaker, turn the voice up, and write it. So, um,
Oh my God.
hey, you know what? So,
Lucia has the best advice, just saying.
yeah, that'll
Hmm.
definitely relax you. So, um, and Z's like is it just more proof that everybody does it. And guys, this is something that I want everybody to take away from this. You guys aren't the only ones who are hearing or going through these things. Everybody seems to have a similar critique on themselves. In some way, shape, or form.
Hmm.
Um, where nobody's different. Everybody struggles with the same stuff. So hopefully this helps. Like, that's why we're here, you know. And yes, we can't all be like Lucha, though. You know, sounds, you know, the voice is just melodious in every sense of the word. So, um,
Jesus, you have to use such big words. Melodious.
uh,
Wow. Okay, Mr.
Well, you
Education.
harmonic.
gotta be captivating, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
I just look into his
yeah.
eye. I just look into his eyes and just get lost in his eyes. So,
Oh my God.
but with that being said, guys, I mean, lady, unless you have anything else, Zara, if you
No,
have
sir.
anything left that you want to tell anybody or cover, I mean, this is you know, this is your platform at this point. So,
Well, no, I just want to, take a moment to thank everybody for being them. Um, a lot of people like myself have a lot of self-doubt, but, you're still out there doing it. You're still trying to improve every day, and that makes us all want to improve every day. Just keep up the good work.
absolutely, yeah, no, and that everybody needs to hear that. You know, as much as we might criticize ourselves, please don't think that you're doing anything wrong or anything bad. You guys are noticed out there, even when you don't feel like you are. Believe me, you guys, people notice you. They may not always have time to stop in and tell you, but it's when you
Yep.
think you're not noticed is when you really are noticed. So don't lose sight of that. Um, Now, don't forget, guys, I'm dropping the link here. By tomorrow, Zara's episode will be found on Spotify as well. So spread the word. If there's somebody you think that might need to hear this or hear anything that Zara's had to say and they couldn't catch the stream and maybe they don't have time to watch the VOD, this is another platform to help get everybody out there. And if you're not already following, please go there and drop the follow. Help us out. Help us grow there. But Zara's episode will be there
Yes,
by
sir.
noon tomorrow. So with that being said, Zara, I do appreciate you for jumping in here with us. You know, it's a big thing to be able to put yourself out there. And I appreciate you taking the time. Everybody else, I appreciate you being here. But with that being said, we are wrapping up this episode of Table Talk. And we will see you guys on Thursday with Botch. We are going to be sitting